Years have passed since my last game room, game basement tour, but a lot has changed in my life and in the basement of gaming extravaganza. So I am back again to give you an updated tour of this craziness. It is insane. Some stuff I actually got rid of. There is some new stuff you're gonna see. And if you're brand new, just sit back and enjoy the ride as I talk at length of all of my gaming memorabilia, action figures, video games themselves, and maybe some ginormous statues and cardboard game promos that are brand new. Let's get into it. So the first thing you see when you come down the stairs, this is going to be the most boring part right out the gate. But right here you might notice from the last game room tour, that is my old CRT I got back in 03. My parents got that for me for a birthday present. I can't bring myself to get rid of it. There is it's kind of warped where you can't see the sides of the image in it. And you'll see I've got an updated CRT over here, but I had to put it aside for now. I've got a popcorn machine right here, and above it, Majora's mask is looking over the popcorn to make sure everything's cooked well. But this is a popcorn machine that you probably see these at yard sales a lot because I think people get too lazy actually having to make this stuff. But it is really good. I finally found the formula, and it does taste really good. And I've got my ukulele here and guitar case back there, and we'll get over here this music side in a second. But this is right when you enter. Kind of boring, but we got Majora's right here. I'm trying to spruce this up, but bear with me. But this is right when you enter. So something that was in the last game room but has been evicted has been the Mario statue here. And this is just some history on it. They made 500 of these total, I believe, worldwide. Double check me on that, but I think that was the last thing I've checked and researched into. They were in PC game stores or PC stores, and other maybe video game stores had them or whatever. This I got from a yard sale back in 2010, and it was sun faded then, and it is still sun faded now. I actually have kind of asked online about people if they could maybe paint this, and people were saying don't paint it, don't frick with it. Some people were wanting to buy it not painted from me, but I said no, this is my son, this is Mario, I got to keep him. But yeah, this is probably, I'm going to start at the gate, this is the most rarest thing in my entire collection because, again, only 500 were made. This was one of the originals. This is not a repro. And he is sun faded, as you can see. And I do want to get him painted still someday because I'm just going to keep him. But I need to find the right person. And I think I did talk to somebody at a recent game expo I went to, Torg in Columbus, if you know about that. They said that someone had one of theirs and got painted. They had one of these they found as well. And I think it was like $3,000 to get it professionally painted. So not in the works for right now. But just goes to show you how careful you have to, get these things back to tip-top shape. Now, something brand new is this Oblivion store display. This is in excellent condition. These were, I had multiple of these cardboard cutouts, and these were in my parents' garage. And it wasn't until last year I always made fun of my parents because they said, yeah, we got all the store displays. And I said, those are molded and or gone because things were packed away in the garage. Well, sure enough, they came, they showed up, they said, shut your mouth, look what we found. And it was a stack of these, and in there was this Oblivion one, perfect condition. And where I got these was a store here. I don't know if everybody have them where you're from, but they were Hollywood Videos had a game store connected to it. It was called Game Crazy. And I became very good friends with the people there, and they would let you, if you saw a store display you wanted, you could put your name on a Post-it note and slap it on the back of the store display and put your number on there. And what they'll do is they would call when they were ready to throw those out, and you'd have to come down there and pick it up. They would just hold it for you. So those guys were awesome. I missed that time in my life. This was mid-2000s to late 2000s, and then they closed down, as you know, and Hollywood Video as well. But yeah, this is one of my favorites that I had, and I was so happy to see it not damaged at all. in there. But this is, I was going to put, in the last video I teased I was going to put something else. I was kind of looking at putting an arcade machine here, but pricing never worked out, and how I wanted to customize it never worked out. But maybe someday. But for right now, I wanted to put something there, and that's going to be the, stop focusing my hand. There we go. The Oblivion standout, and Mario's pointing to it. He's saying, "See, look at that. Jump in there. Jump in that gate. See where it leads you." Daedric Prince. Now on this corner of the basement here, you might remember from the last video, I believe I still had a pool table there, and if I didn't, it was just blank, and just Mario was here in the corner. From what I remember, there was nothing else. But my son has moved in. He has taken over, not this son, not Mario, but my other son has taken over this corner of the basement. So this is his playroom, this is his collection, this is his game room down here that he likes to play in. But just look past that and look right here, one of his favorite posters. No, I had this in the last game room tour video, and he moved in here and we just kept it. So he has a awesome Nagel poster. Look up Nagel, great artist. I love this art, but we just kept it here in this. So he might need like Blue's Clues up there, but for now he's a Nagel fan. We got Majora's Mask. So right here is the wall of like my favorites. And this has stayed the same since the last game room video, but this is Majora's Mask. This is my favorite game of all time. I adore this game. We got Lost, my favorite TV show. And right here on my channel, I actually did a video on how to make your own, or how I did it, and how, if you want to make your own in the similar style that I did. This is all 151 original Pokemon cards, and I framed it. And you can check out that video. It goes more into depth, but this was a dream come true. And, it looks great on a basement wall. Oh my gosh, love that thing. And right here is one of my favorite, is my favorite anime, and that is Evangelion. And lastly, my favorite movie, Mulholland Drive. So these posters take up this back wall here, and as you can see, my son's stuff is taking up quite the room there. Just kidding. Love you, son. So this basement kind of is like a horseshoe and wraps around here to the side. So on this side, I have just my record player here. This is my dad's record player that he gave me, a receiver, and all my albums. And then I made this wall here because I love album art. I just love seeing the album art. So I just had to put as many as I could on this wall. So put all of these here. I got a Now Playing. If anybody wants to change records or whatever, they can put that there. And these are my dad's original old speakers and stuff that he had back in my parents' house when I was growing up. He gave those to me, and I just like this retro kind of look here with the speakers and this kind of stand I had for the record player. This is my guitar. I got a ukulele. Got recently, don't know how to play it yet, and I recently got this electric that my dad also gave me. He's way more into music than I am. I am a music head, but he gave me that electric guitar recently. And that is the little music corner real quick. And right here is where the magic happens. This is where I spend the most time at. This is a 77-inch LG OLED. It's a C1 model. And I am sitting back here on this big comfy couch. On this side, I've got these little PlayStation pillows I got from Etsy. Thought they're pretty cool. They stand here on the side. And let's get to the TV and the fun stuff. This is the LG C1 77-inch I've got mounted here. And below I got an LG soundbar. I don't know what model or whatever it is, but it sounds great down in here in this basement with this subwoofer with this big long nasty hair on it. But awesome. It just really, you can turn that thing up and just rock the whole basement if you want. It's pretty fun. Down here, I've got the launch model PlayStation 5, still rocking, still going strong since 2020. I've got the base controller charger for the controllers for the PSVR 2. I don't really play my PSVR 2 that often anymore, but I do have it down there just in case I want to put it up there and charge. I'll talk about this in a second, this top part. Nintendo Switch 2, my Switch 2 is upstairs right now, but I do have a Switch 2. It's not just a dock chilling. I have the Xbox One X right here for when I want to play Skate 3. That's my Skate 3 machine. And that is an Apple TV. But these right here make this basement work. These are the mega, what would you call it? The Mega Kings. Is that, why the frick would I call it that? These are the nucleus of the basement, maybe. And this thing on the left is a splitter. And what it does is I take all these consoles, the Switch 2, well, I'll get to Switch 2 in a second. I take this PS5, I take my Xbox One, and I put that into this box right here in the middle, and I can switch, whoops, sorry about that. I can switch between them, and they will just auto switch. When one turns off and I turn another on, it'll change it, and I can keep the same input because the LG only has 4 inputs on it. So I have to be smart about what I use. And then it'll go over, and I can go, one cable can go up to the TV and one can go to the splitter and split from there and go over to my PC so I can stream. And it'll stream to I have an Elgato over there to pull in what I'm streaming. But pretty cool. I'm having trouble with the Switch 2 because it won't work with these switchers. If you know a Switch 2 that'll work with the switcher, let me know the link to that freaking switcher. Tell me the name of it. Oh my gosh. I basically have to unplug from here and allow the Switch 2 to be on its own port in order for it to work. But that is the main wall right here where I've got all the goodies right here. All my fun stuff I like to play with in the basement. Bam. Love this little setup here. And this was not in the last video, but I added a new little shelf and I started to collect 4K Blu Rays. I'm a movie nut and I wanted to actually have some physical media, so I went kind of crazy getting some of these. Some of these are Blu Rays as well, but I do try to get 4K Blu Rays if possible when I'm collecting now. But I got this air purifier right here, and I've got the sticker, this little magnet from Mega 64. You'll learn more about them here on this other side here in a second. But big Mega 64 fan. Got a Lost poster my wife got me up top. But air purifiers are great. Oh my gosh. People coughing, hawking up a lung. Got dust everywhere. This thing helps. I'm a big proponent. You got to get yourself an air purifier. Every room if you can. A little humidifier check. So this is a huge thing for basements. This is just a PSA for people with basements. Please, please, please get one of these. These tell you like the humidity in the basement, especially with all these games. You do not want your stuff molding up. And over here, I've got this built into the wall. But what this does is it's a dehumidifier. Pulls in the moisture from the basement that's coming in, and it basically spits it out. There's water. It kind of drains out on the other side of this wall into the utility room, and it's just a really little cool inlet. You put that in there, but this will tell you, hey, like, is stuff still too humid or whatever? You need to crank up the humidifier, do all that. But yeah, that was the PSA. That was the mold PSA. But yeah, here is a quick look at my collection so far of 4K Blu-rays. I mostly get stuff digital, or I just stream it. But what I like to do for movies, and I like to do this for music too with the records, is if I really love it, if it's something like my favorite from the year, or in this case, my favorite movies of all time, or just ones that really look like I want to get in a 4K full quality experience, I will purchase it. So there's my collection there. Big David Lynch fan. Got all the Evangelion movies again. Big, huge Evangelion fan, but huge Lynch fan. And some of these movies are kind of like the mainstream popular top movies on IMDb, but I want to have those. Those are just really just masterpiece movies. And to watch that on the setup on an OLED, oh, just awesome. But that's cool. This is the Evangelion Ultimate Edition that they put out. I did a video on my channel 4 or 5 years ago when it came out, but I love this thing. This is the entire original series, and I think Death and Rebirth and in the Evangelion as well. Don't quote me on that, I can't remember, but I believe they're in there as well. And they are all on full, I think it's 4K or 1080p. Now I can't remember, but yeah, you can check that on my channel, reviewing that and kind of opening up the goodie box. But I love that little box set. I love Evangelion. And down here we got Walter White. you've probably seen him in past Game Room videos and stuff, but that back there is the Breaking Bad collector's edition of the entire show. The barrel, the classic barrel. And right here is more of the collection. Again, not a huge collection yet compared to my video games, but I'm working on it. And there's some stuff I still need to watch that I got for Christmas, as you can see, shrink wrapped. But I will get to it. Don't patronize me. That is the new media little shelf. Wrapping around here real quick is this little fireplace, which we've actually never used since we've moved in. But on here is just kind of personal items and overflow items that didn't really fit anywhere else. So I have this Nathan Drake Uncharted 4 Collector's Edition statue. I thought the statue came out great. A lot of these now, they've kind of lost the quality, so this was kind of like one of the last before the nosedive on quality of some of these statues that come with these Collector's editions. And the back is this kind of little 3D print my brother-in-law made for me for like my birthday. Got sitting back there. I've got Gordon Freeman from Half-Life. Got a crab on his head. This is a NECA figure. And I looked it up recently, and it's actually kind of rare. This is kind of a rare figure, but I had no other place for him on the shelf. This is Pee Wee Herman. I'm a big Pee Wee Herman fan. My parents loved him growing up. They just always would watch Big Adventure and all that stuff. Had all the figures and stuff, but recently they got that for my birthday. Like some of this other stuff, somebody made for us, this kind of custom X-Files print. I think me and my wife got it. One of us got it for our birthdays or whatever from somebody. Right here was really cool. My wife got me these like custom Pokemon cards of our dogs. So there is Millie, and she's got some attacks and stuff on there. There's Lulu. There's the rare, Lulu. If you get like a first edition print, it'd be like 100 grand on that Lulu. But right here, I had to have this when I moved into the house. Before I even moved in, I knew that this was going to go here. And this was the Skyrim Collector's Edition I got at launch. I love this thing. I think it's just an awesome Collector's Edition statue. This thing is so hyper detailed, and I was like, it has to go above the fireplace. That's the only place it can be. It has to go. That just looks so Skyrim-y. Got Twin Peaks poster. Got this little Snorlax dude. And this Sephiroth will not fit anywhere. This is from the Rebirth Collector's Edition. And this is exactly where it has to go because it doesn't fit. It is too big. It is huge. It won't fit into any of my other stuff that I'm about to show here soon unless I pull down the freaking shelf. I'd have to pull it down so much. I would be wasting so much room. So for now, he owns this dominion of the fireplace, and that is the fireplace. Now is what I call the retro corner. This is classic consoles all day, baby. I don't want to see nothing HD over here. Woo! So first up, we've got something brand new, and this was, yes, you might have guessed it, in that stash that I had put into my parents' garage years and years and years ago. 20 years, some of them, just about coming up on 20 years. They were sitting in my parents' garage. And this is Halo 3, one of my favorite games of all time. But this is my favorite store display I ever had. And when I saw this, I about shed a tear because I just love Halo 3 so much. And I'm so excited that I have this. His leg kind of sticks out 3D if you can kind of see it here. But such a cool display, and I love Halo 3, but very happy. I knew this had to be displayed no matter what, and I kind of made some room, put it right here on the side. I think I had another kind of shelf situation that was going on in the last game room, but I took all that out, moved some stuff around, sold some stuff, and then here we are. Master Chief guarding the corner. Back here, ignore all this. This is just the junk corner. Everybody has a junk side. You have to have a junk thing in the basement, but that's mine. Do not mind it. Right here is my steering wheel that I got a couple years ago, and I think I've played with it 3 times. I think that's kind of the story for a lot of people. But man, when you have this on Gran Turismo 7 with PSVR 2, Gran Turismo 7, and the wheel, ooh, it is such an amazing experience. And I will get this back out again because playing that on VR2, I do love that experience. It's just I've not had time, but I'm going to get, it's getting closer and closer to a time where I'm going to do that. So I will play with that soon. This went over here on, that's where that used to be, over there on that shelf, and I had to like kind of hide it. And that is an amp for playing my electric guitar. Moving on to this, I've got these two little pull-out drawers, and these are holding my action figure accessories in here. And then they're holding, so there's more, yeah, more action figure accessories, tons of little stuff for all the figures you're going to see here soon. And right here is all these old NES, SNES, I think there's some N64, but they're all cables. And they all fit into there, all neat, all into different bags. If I need to get extra cables or whatever, I've got them right there. And over here, we'll just jump over here real quick and jump on that. But I think I've got a PS4 Pro and a PS3 Slim in there as well. Don't have a place for them. And then down here, I've got all my PlayStation. There's tons, PS1 through 5, just different cables I didn't need or things I wanted to keep right down there. But let's get to the fun stuff. So I have changed this around since last time, but what has stayed the same is this still is PlayStation centric. I love the PS1 and the PS2. Those are so close to me, and I really, really love them. I think the PS1 is my favorite console of all time. It just was so imaginative. It was first time with 3D, so they were just taking big swings. Every game was taking big swings mostly to create fun experiences in 3D. Stuff that you don't see anymore. I think the closest we've ever got was VR since then, of just taking big swings and trying because there's no rules. So this is kind of like my little homage to that time. We've got the Spyro First 4 figure up there with my PS1. And this is Crash Bandicoot with the PS1 Classic up there. And there's my original PS1 box. And I've got Lara Croft. I got that recently from a marketplace find. I was finding some other stuff, and this person had that in there. And I was stoked to get that. This is an old like Tomb Raider statue, and I thought it looked awesome, especially for the time when it was made. Those are my old Crash Bandicoot figures I've had since childhood. Got the Kingdom Hearts. This was in the collector's edition for Kingdom Hearts 2.5, I believe. Yeah, 2.5, I'm pretty sure. And then we got Ratchet and Clank figures here in the back, big Ratchet and Clank head. And we've got the Dragon Quest. These are regular play arts. There was no Kai, there was no whatever is out there now. This is just original play arts figures. But love Dragon Quest. Love Dragon Quest 8. Okay, this is the retro corner. And this is new. This is a CRT, a Trinitron. I don't know if this is the one that people freak out over, but when I saw the Trinitron name on it, you can tell me if I got the freaking, if this is an expensive version. I don't think it is. But this is a Trinitron Sony. This thing is huge. I actually think, well, when I was measuring it, I made sure to measure and keep an eye out. It took several years. It took years of looking at yard sales, going out on weekends, not specifically for this, but for anything. But I kept my eyes peeled for a Trinitron, and it took years and years. I finally found one that would fit. But I had to measure to make sure it would fit with the shelf arrangement that I have. And also, it took 2 people to get this down here, me and my dad. And this thing is, I think it's max capacity I could get me and one other person. It's so ungodly heavy. And again, this is like the biggest thing I could fit down here. But really, this size is amazing for where I've got this kind of setup, if I could show you here with these 3 chairs. But I love the CRT. It does look amazing, and it just is so cool to play the original games, original hardware at times on this thing. So here is a PS2 that I have modded because the disc reader stopped working. So I have back here, I have, if you can see, something in the hard drive, and I have put my games that I own on that, and it just runs it right from the hard drive. That was kind of a process to learn, and I fricked up some stuff and finally got it to working. And these are these Logitech speakers, and you can see I don't really have a good space without moving this. There's the sub that goes to it over there, but these are from 02, 03, and I've had those since childhood. They still sound awesome, but right now they're just sitting here, and I'm kind of just running it off this because I need that sub to make it work. So I would like to get that to work someday because they do sound really great. Over here is my original Wii. And I've got this wireless sensor bar up here, if I can focus, right there for it. Now, I was really excited to get this type of display for these consoles, or the stand, this TV stand, because it kind of reminded me of the Fireplace. I was like, wow, this kind of sticks with this rustic, kind of like this look and old feel. Just a retro look, like an 80s kind of look here. But inside of here, I have a switcher. If I can pull this up. A switcher. And all of these consoles go to that. And I've got the original NES. This was my parents' NES that they gave me. I've got an SNES. Or Super Nintendo. I've got to open this up. An N64. I've got this might be new. I don't even know if I had this last time, but I have a Sega Genesis. Now I have a Sega CD. I'm not sure if I had that or not last time. I have a Dreamcast, and I have an original Xbox. And the last time I might have talked about how I had a, what the frick was it called? The cart. The ROM cart thing. I forgot the name, but I had a ROM cart that let me put all the games on it, and I was playing on games down here, but I sold it. And something that's coming soon that I'm very excited about is the Super Station 1, and what that is a Mister console. You can look that up, but it will emulate everything, or it will just play anything and emulate the original hardware, and it works on CRT. You can do a CRT export, you can have save states, you can do all that stuff on it. So I'm going to basically put that like right here, and it's my dream thing to have connected to the CRT. I am so freaking excited. I can still play all this stuff, and I still have the games I can pop in, but I love not having to go through, and you'll see soon I have some of these in plastic. It's hard to get these games out of the original cases, but I'll have that right here. I can jump in and out of games so easy. So that's coming soon this year, which I'm very excited about, and that will change my life. And it'll work on HDMI as well. But this is the Retro Game Corner. I want to talk real quick about this table that I've got here. I've got the Donkey Kong bongos. I have two of those because I would play two-player back in the day. I've got the Wii Fit thing I haven't been on since it called me fat back in 2007. But I open this up, and you've got extra storage. Oh, yeah. So this thing is great. I've got any old controller that you need here. I've got them. I got this Xbox controller sitting in there. Got the Wavebird back there. I have something I bought from Amazon because I wanted to change the N64 controller because I'm not a huge fan of it. Got the Switch. This is for the Mario Kart little RC car you can control. Old memory cards right here. PlayStation controllers. Some more controllers there, but love this thing because you pop in and out all the stuff, organize it, still looks nice over here, and save some space. Now, the moment you have been waiting for, the moment you probably skipped ahead to freaking see over all this other bull crap, and that is with this retro corner. What I attempted to do, and you'll see here as it goes along, is I wanted to kind of go in order. When I look at shelves, when I think of collecting, I look at the shelf, and I think when I see something on the shelf, I'm kind of taken back to that time. When I come down here and just kind of gaze at this sometimes, turn the lights on back here, I've set it up to where it's an order of like my life of when I was playing this. So from the very beginning, my first console, the NES, my parents had that, and that's what I played on. All the way up through as it goes along, Genesis, we get the Dreamcast, N64, the PS1, the Game Boy Color, all this stuff. So as it goes along, all of this kind of goes in order. You get to see this kind of wave of nostalgia as you go from oldest to newest. So yeah, let's start over here on this little shelf. I'm going to open it up so we can get an even better view. So real quick for the rest of this video, I'm going to show what am I doing for the lights in here. I'm using the same system for all of the lights that are these Billy bookcases. These are Billy bookcases. I forgot the name of the door, but these are IKEA doors as well. And this one is discontinued, but they have similar, you'll see over here, that you can get. Same thing, goes on the Billy bookcase, doesn't matter. But I'm using these wireless lights. Now, if I was to do this again, I probably wouldn't do this because charging these like takes a full day. I got to switch them out. I have all these USB-C cables to charge them. And you see, that's why I've turned off the lights over here, just because to conserve the battery. I'm going to keep the ones on that I'm looking on for the rest of the video. But these really pop the shelves. I didn't have these on the last game room tour because this is just expensive to get all these Billy bookcases for one, and to also get the lighting. The lighting was extremely expensive, especially with things at the time of this video. Things are expensive. So it took me months and months and months to slowly acquire each of the shelves lighting. But that's what I'm using, and you can easily kind of magnet these off. And I found that these are the best setup for what I had with these Billy bookcases. Again, if I had to go back, I maybe would do it differently, but I would have the shelves empty and I would have to drill holes and make kind of a through line to an outlet to power them hardwired. But for now, these are great and they make the shelves pop still. With that said, let's get into it. At the top here is my NES kind of section. This is the first, this is the Genesis. And right here is like one of the first games I ever remember playing, and that was Batman. I loved Batman as a kid. Batman game, of course, Mario and stuff too at the same time, but Batman, I even have a picture of me playing that when I was 3, maybe, in front of my parents' old CRT that they had. But this is one of my first video games, and I believe last video I had just found these, or at some point had found some of these, and maybe more had been found. But what happened was my mom had said, yeah, your dad was up cleaning the attic and he found these, and they're the old boxes. Now, you can see I have cart only, and for the rest of all of this stuff, this is complete in box, everything that you see from here on out. But here's how I treated it. This is what I saw when I was a kid, and this is what we had. We didn't have the boxes. So I kept it that way. I was like, I'm just going to collect cart for this. So I got a couple carts that I wanted Final Fantasy or whatever. I got Dragon Warrior at some point. But I had given up that I had the boxes. Now these 3, the Mario games, I bought back in early 2010s, 2013 I believe, and these were the ones and the Metroid I bought, and you'll see some other NES games over here in a second. But yeah, my parents found these in a box in the attic, and I was ecstatic about that. Like Super C is right here, and it's so cool. This isn't sealed. This is just the plastic they left on. Back then people would do that, like the plastic off stuff they would open. But yeah, this is all complete in box right here, because they kept the manuals. I should have said I have all the manuals for most of these games, just not the box. But yeah, the original, they kept the box, the original of their NES right here, their original controller stuff. And I love this Batman because this is the way that he looked in this game, with the way the graphics, when they had to make it look nighttime. This is how they kind of had the color on him with the sprites. So I love this figure. This figure's from NECA. But yeah, that's kind of right there what I've got. And you'll see with my collections, I love watching people's games rooms when they go for like complete stuff. Like, I gotta get every controller color, I gotta get every version of this console. I don't do that. I go for what mattered to me and was special to me as a kid. And I kind of just put that. So when I come down here and I look, it's like, this is my sanctuary kind of thing. So continuing on that, got the Donkey Kong Country. I love Donkey Kong Country, and here's all 3 of the games complete in box. This came with Donkey Kong Country, but no box, and it wasn't until early 2010s, mid-2010s or whatever, I was at a game store and they had one, so I bought a complete box, sold that, and kept my original cart copy, and finally gave it a home here. This is a Donkey Kong statue from Toys R Us, now out of business, Toys R Us. I think they came back, but they're like putting little mini stores and malls, I don't know. But kind of rare from what I've seen over the years, but I got that for one of my birthdays one year. But awesome little Donkey Kong statue. And you'll see if you watch the old game video and some stuff might stick out. I did sell quite a bit of things as you'll go along. You might see some stuff missing. And I also bought some new stuff. But right here is my Super Nintendo little section. And my rule that I try to hold to is I don't like to have too much stuff in front of other things. Like I don't want figures in front of spines, you know, right here in front of this. I don't want to block this. So I kind of have it off to the side, you know what I mean? And have the box. Big Earthworm Jim fan there. Super Nintendo classic console. But yeah, there's that. Right here is my Sega shelf. Again, I sold some stuff, kept some stuff, moved some stuff around, but I'm really happy with what I did over the last game room video. I just, you would think I have a basement this big or this size. When I first moved here, I thought it was massive, and I still do, but it's funny how much room becomes precious down here. So I did have to do some moving around and some finagling to get stuff to work, but really happy with this little Sonic little corner here. These were like little cheapo, if you remember Big Lots, there was a Big Lots and these little cheapo Sonic figures, but I have I have a little soft spot for these little goofy Big Lots figures I got years ago. This is the 2000s, early 2000s there, but all my original Sonic Complete in Box collection there. Sega CD games. And down here are the boxes. You can see down here, there's a store here in my area called Biggs. It was like a grocery store, but it was massive. It had basically Walmart before Walmart. And it was humongous. And you could see the price there, 119 bucks. And I remember inside you can actually see, I think they have the original receipt or like the pickup thing on the back side of this box where my parents got it for my birthday. I think my 4th birthday. And then the original Sega CD box. I recently acquired complete in box, that Sega CD I showed there. But yeah, this is the Genesis, not the Sega Genesis. This is like the origin story of my gaming hobby is right here. Moving on, we are in the late 90s now, later 90s, and this is the Sega Dreamcast here at the top. I've got, this was actually my first eBay purchase ever. My dad had to help me out there with that. I did not have one at launch. I envied the kids on the school ground that would talk about Sonic Adventure because I loved Sonic growing up, but only could afford the PlayStation N64 at the time or whatever for Christmas when I would get those. But envied the kids who got that. But I think I like the PS1 more than N64. But Dreamcast is cool, and again, that was my first like eBay purchase in like 05, I want to say. And to show you how much times have changed, they kind of threw in this like a free game along with getting this console in there. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I've got just a very extremely small collection here of Dreamcast titles. I only have Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Got to have those. I've got Seaman, which is such a freaking funny game. I do have it complete in box. I've got that mic for it. There's Shenmue, which I love. There's the web browser thing I came with. And this is a Sega Saturn game just because it kind of fit up here. But my friend went to Japan. Whoops, sorry, the camera went off there. Side. He went to Japan and brought this back as a souvenir. I thought that was the coolest souvenir. It's the Evangelion Sega Saturn game. But only 50 yen, I think that it is. Yeah. $5, I think. But yeah, there's that. These things were also from Big Lots, Odd Lots. I don't know if you're from this area, the Midwest area. These little crappy figures I have a heart for. There's Big the Cat. There's Dreamcast controller up there and Sonic guarding it. But yeah, my little, very humble Dreamcast collection. Again, I'm going for stuff that I really was intrigued by. I thought that I should put on a shelf. Again, I actually had a bigger Dreamcast collection and sold a lot of it because it was like, what am I taking up space for? What are we doing? But that is my Dreamcast collection. Moving down here, my N64 collection takes up 2 shelves right here. And we'll start with the top here. Love Banjo-Kazooie. All these, again, are complete in box. A lot of what you're seeing, too, the majority of it, except for those three, I didn't have complete in box. I just had loose of those Mario games. Again, I told you a lot of that stuff was loose. But the majority, I would say 90%, was stuff that I bought, especially of the retro era, was stuff I got as a kid. These were things I just held on to that were just really special to me. But yeah, again, these are all this. Again, a GoldenEye, I play at a friend's house, so I bought that in my collecting. I started in like early 2010s. I was like, ooh, collecting is kind of cool. I want to get some stuff I missed now that I got a big boy job. And I went back and got that and Paper Mario, stuff that I couldn't afford back then or just never got a hold of. But yeah, I got those later. But all these are my original, boxes that I kept. Original Super Mario 64 that I got back there. And I love these, I think these are Nintendo Power, or there's a Nintendo Collectible, yeah, these old original plushies. And I just love the looks of this old gaming merchandise. And to kind of update people on and give them a little bit of history, back then in the 2000s and 90s, before in the 80s, it was almost non-existent. But gaming merchandise didn't really exist, and if it did, it was at places called Suncoast. There was one in my mall, and it just was really, 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 really rare to find this stuff and to get this stuff. So, yeah, when I got this stuff, I was head over heels when I was able to find it as a kid. There's an old Banjo-Kazooie plushie as well. I don't know what he's part. He might be part of the same Nintendo Collectibles thing, I'm not sure, but love those. This old N64 thing I got from I was on my dad's side of Christmas. They were doing like White Elephant, is that what it is? A little game where you pass the box around, and it was all with a bunch of kids. And I was just a kid then, and there was one big box and one very small box. And as a kid, you want to take the big box. And I said, no, there's something about that small box I like. And that was in here. I don't even think this is worth much, but it's just a fun story. Like, I got that and I loved that. I just thought that was a really rare, crazy thing to get as a kid. Like, Nintendo 64 camera? It's weird, but yeah, I like to have that. This is one of the most rarest thing I have. There's a lot of rare stuff here on this shelf, actually, now I'm looking at it. But this is probably in the top 10, maybe top 5 things. I think top 5 most rare things, expensive things that I own in my collection. That is the original Donkey Kong 64 set. This was not mine, but I was very close to it. This was my aunt's. My aunt and uncle love Donkey Kong, and this was their console. I'd already had a standard console that came with actually this game, and I had to buy, again, just like Donkey Kong over here, Super Nintendo. I only had the cart with it, but I bought the Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. I just had the gray, standard console you see of N64. But this was theirs. And they had it out in the garage or something, and I was like, man, I loved that thing or whatever. I always remembered coming over there and then playing it. And I was like, oh man, I'd love to own my own one day, because I was a huge Donkey Kong 64 fan with them. We'd play it together. And my aunt was like, you want it? And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm making its own shelf. That is so crazy. So they gave me that a couple of years now. But I love that thing. More Nintendo collectible Donkey Kong. Just love the look of this old gaming merchandise. It just has that classic look. Much higher quality stuff you can get now, much more apparent. You can go into Target now and find some gaming merchandise in the back, but so rare back then. So I'm very close and have a soft spot for some of that old stuff. But that is the N64 section. N64, weird console, but the classics are absolutely crushing it on there. Yeah, let's move on to the Game Boy section. Now, this is actually, if you do not count the Mario statue, this is the most rare thing, most expensive thing I own in my entire collection, and it is this Game Boy complete in box. Without the box, this is just, I think, probably in the $100 range for this Game Boy Color here. And I have a store, if you want to look back, I have a video on my channel, I'll link to it in the corner here. I did a video about a mall in my local area that was closing down, And I actually got this stolen within a car. My cousin's car got stolen while we were in the mall. Somebody took his car, and in that, I had left my Game Boy inside the vehicle, and it was taken. Years later, I bought and purchased a new one, but here's the thing: am I going to buy a $1,000 box for whatever this cost is? Why it's that? No, I kept this after it got stolen. I was like, oh, I'll get a new one day, and that stayed in my closet for 20 plus years until I reunited it with a Game Boy Color. But that is my most rare thing that I own currently, gaming related, or media, media related. Right here are my original copies of Red and Blue. These are one of my favorite games of all time. Playing these when these came out was a magical experience. I don't know if any gaming experience has ever hit that high of just trading with your friends, battling, playing the Pokemon trading card game. But I was a Blue fan first. That was my first one. Right here are these little Tomy figures that came out in the day, and I kind of set these here. I'd like to get some for this side, but I have just Togepi over here and Mewtwo hanging out. And I got a little fat Pikachu. Everybody loves fat Pikachu here, but these are all my original complete in box. I did have to buy again. I came with the cart, but they did not put the box in there when I bought that of Pokemon Yellow. And then all of these are my original boxes that I kept. Moving down here is my Game Boy little collection. I start having a little console collection. You start to see some handheld as we go along. But I actually lost, this was my first Game Boy, and I don't know where it went. I ended up having to repurchase the box to this, and I did that more recently, but that box is not displayed here because it's basically just kind of a see-through box as well. And I think it came with Tetris or whatever, but I don't. I just bought the box of that recently, but that was my original Game Boy, and I went with my aunt. She took me to Toys R Us and got it for me. I'll never forget. I had to repurchase the box. You'll start to see some sad stories I'm about to tell where stuff got thrown away, and I had to repurchase years later. And this was my original Game Boy, was the see-through one. I love that look of that. I love the see-through look of electronics when they do that. But over here, this was, I believe I found it at a yard sale and just kept it just for display to show that that was the original Game Boy and the color. Back here is a complete in box, mint, brand new. I mean, it's been opened, but I opened it up. I got it from an auction. It wasn't eBay. It was like kind of a local auction they were doing. And when I went to go pick it up, I looked and I gasped because it was brand spanking new, hadn't been touched. Still has the games in there, all that stuff, all the plastic and stuff. It's mint, open box new. So I bought a box to put over that box. I don't know if you can see it, but plastic little protector boxes that I use for all of these cardboard boxes to protect them over the years. But very freaking was shocked by that. There's a Game Boy Color. My dad found he was before he retired, he was a mailman. And he found that on one of his routes, just walking, just in the middle of the street. So he gave that to me, and I bought the box for it years and years later when I was collecting. But he just found the original, that Game Boy Color I played with. There's a Game Boy Pocket I don't have the box for. I don't know where I got it, from a yard sale or something, but that is the Game Boy Pocket I played with as a kid. And that is the Game Boy Camera, which I still do have the box for, which I love the Game Boy Camera. That thing was amazing at the time, just putting little funny stamps on your face, and it was basically the iPhone and playing with Snapchat filters way before any of that, back in the 90s, and it was such a magical time playing with that Game Boy Camera. There was fun little mini games on it, but for now I just wanted to display the box and the Game Boy Pocket there. Moving down, here is where it gets sad. I had to pony out some cash because back in the day when I was living with my parents, space was very, I did not take it for granted. It was very cramped when I lived back home in one room. And in that, I said, maybe I just throw some of these boxes away, keep the carts, keep the manuals, and throw the boxes out because they take too much space. And I threw all the Game Boy boxes out that I had. And then as I was doing that and just crushing them and throwing them into a trash bag, something in my spirit, when I got to Pokemon Blue and Red, I distinctly remember sitting there and going, future me might want these. And I put them aside and I kept those boxes for the Pokemon games. So thank you to, I don't know if I was speaking myself in the past, like I went, Interstellar style. Maybe something was going on. I was banging on the back of a bookcase. I think that's what went on. But I had to recently, it took me the past several years, since the COVID pandemic, I had slowly reacquired the boxes. I had all the carts, I had the manuals, so I was able to resell any of these I bought off eBay. I was able to resell the carts and stuff and make some money back. But and that's I love this little Kirby figure. So I like to, when I display, have some type of theme. So I like to have the figures up there with the boxes and showing the games, the fronts of some games, so it's not just all spines. And I got this Kirby and he magnets. There's actually magnets to move. I just thought that was so smart to do it that way and so cool. But I loved Kirby's Dream Land. As a kid, those games were so easy to beat, so I think that's why I loved it too. But yeah, there's my little Game Boy section there, and that was really hard on the wallet, but I did buy those are legit boxes, by the way. I'm so stupid. I paid like $200 average probably for some of these. But I'm just a stickler. I have OCD. I couldn't just buy repro boxes. Those are the legit boxes that I repurchased because I'm stupid. Down here is, again, my favorite console. It continues from back over here when I have that section. But I wanted to have, again, a Crash kind of theme going on here. And because it sits lower on this whole collection, I just wanted to put this little thing. And I think if you put batteries in it, it makes the sound and it lights up. I believe so. But there are the Crash Bandicoot games. Huge fan of this original trilogy of games, as you can see from the statue I had earlier. But love Crash Bandicoot. Here is my PlayStation collection here. We'll go through. And another rule, now that we're getting to PS1, this is the first time you're actually witnessing it in my collection. When it comes to PS1 or any of these games from here on out, you'll see some greatest hits and go like, what the heck? I thought you were a collector, dude. You got greatest hits. As a kid, you don't think about those things. You just get them from birthdays and people buy them for you and you find them. You don't think about the greatest hits. You just buy what you're able to get. So my rule was, if I already had it greatest hits, I'm not repurchasing it. I'm just going to suck it up and deal with it and keep it in the collection. I'm not going to repurchase just for a black label. I want to keep my original copies, if I had them as a kid especially. If they were something I didn't have a kid, I'm not going to go out and get the greatest hits. I will get the black label. Case in point, I had purchased the Tomba games, which I loved as a kid on demo. I'd play them on demo disc back in the day. But these are the original. These aren't repros or whatever. These are Tomba 1 and 2 that I had to buy. Xenogears I ended up loving so much. I loved Xeno Saga games on PS2, but when I got Xenogears in the 2010s, mid-2010s, I played it for the first time, and I loved Xenogears. I was like, I gotta get that physical. So, got that. There's some demo disc over here, and I had a lot more, and I gave them away, these PlayStation demo discs. I had a gajillion loose of them, and I kept the ones that I had that had the disc trays, little cases with them I kept. Right here is a rare game I want to talk about real quick. That's Tel Concerto. That game is extremely ungodly rare. It's kind of, I can show it. Ungodly rare game. And you might say, oh, you just got it because you're a collector. No, I actually had a history with this game. This game came on a demo disc. On one of these demo discs that I still own, they had an import section. And you could play games from Japan that they didn't know if they were ever going to come over here, and they just had them. And one of them was Tel Concerto, and I remember dying laughing at this cat in this freaking mechanical, like, Xenogear thing, like this mech. So freaking funny. You could just spit bubbles out of it, and I would make it look like I'm like farting bubbles. Killed me as a kid. Was so close. Saw that at a game store for 20 bucks back in 09. I want to say 09. And I remember seeing it and talking with my friend. I was like, that's the game I love, but I don't know if I want to spend $20 on it. And he was like, yeah, you should. We left. Didn't do it. Got to thinking about it. I was like, you know what? We'll go back next weekend. I'm going to pick that up. Let's go pick that up. And it was still there. I paid 20 bucks for Tel Concerto back in the day at a game store to relive those childhood memories and to beat it for the first time. I'd never got that farther than the demo. And it is a fun little goofy game. It's very goofy. But I can go on all day, all night, but that's a separate video about all these PlayStation games. But that concludes this little corner of PlayStation or this corner of retro games, I should say. Now let's go over to the books. So right here is my little media section. And there's quite a couple new things I've moved around here on this, but I still have, if you've come from the old game room videos, I still got my Lost. This is my Blu Ray collection, one of my prized collections, things in my collection. I love Lost, it's my favorite show. And I had this previously. This is a little bobblehead, John Locke in the show, if you know him, eating an orange slice. And I recently acquired this. I kept a watch on eBay forever to find a good price and finally got it to where I was willing to do it. I wanted to have my two favorite, Man of Faith, Man of Science up here, John Locke, and Jack Shepherd chilling out at the top with the Blu Ray collection. I was glad to get that, kind of even that out. Here are my strategy guides. These are all my original strategy guides that I had as a kid. So some of these are very worn. I use these. I got the posters from these. I hung these posters on my wall. But there's those, and I kind of moved some stuff around because my dad, when they were going through their garage or whatever, not only did they find those store displays, they found old game magazines. And I had kept what had happened. My dad pleaded with me. He's like, you got to get rid of these game magazines. I had a gajillion of these. I relented, got rid of a lot, and I kept some aside and held some that I remember the covers for, and I kept them. Well, they found there was more that I had set aside and locked away or whatever, and they had found those recently. So I'm trying to make some room for those, and this is kind of growing more. But this old Electronic Gaming Monthly became EGM, became Game Now. I loved that magazine, loved all that stuff, and I have some other ones that were kind of close to my heart, but you can kind of see them if I get closer, some of these. But I mean, like this one I think is when they're like showing the world exclusive, when they showed the Xbox, just little capsules of history and stuff that, you know, you get to see the excitement and these big, you know, art pieces. One day I'll go kind of through these and flip through some of these, but love the old game magazines. Down here is a Goosebumps collection that I've recently started from when I was going to yard sales. I would find Goosebumps books. So I started holding some aside here, and I've slowly built up this collection. And I just love these covers of these. These are classic. Let me zoom in a little bit. Classic covers. One Day in Horrorland, like, oh my gosh, like these are so... This is what I grew up reading in first grade. I love these Goosebumps books, but they had these raised lettering on there, just classic. So I don't know if I'll keep these, but maybe I'll show my son one day or whatever. Maybe he'll get into reading them. I don't know. Maybe that's the hope. But these are great. Love Goosebumps. Very nostalgic for it. Down here are some art books. Some Zelda art books. I got the McDonald's. I was a huge McDonald's kid back in the day. I just always would get McDonald's, all the fast food restaurants, and I would collect the toys. I had all these freaking toys, so this is so nostalgic looking through this book. It's called McDonald's Collectibles. Look it up. This is a great book. You just get to kind of see all these old 90s Happy Meal toys that they would have. This right here, I learned last time I can only show you the back of, but this is the Xenogears. Well, there's really nothing on the back, really, is there? No. But this is Perfect Works. This is a classic, famous art book for Xenogears, and it never came here, and man, it was like 2019, 2018, I don't forget when it was, they actually, some guy, you can get this online for free, you can just download it and find a PDF of it, but somebody did translate the entire thing to English. Cool. Well, then they did a run. That person printed them, or somebody got that PDF or got whatever, these high quality scans, and made a full book. This is a legit like book, and printed it. And that thing got taken down within like 3 days, but I was able to get one, and I'm so happy that I have that. But that book goes wild. Just check it out, the PDF, if you can sometimes, on Xenogears. It is wild. It goes like, their freaking lore and stuff that they were doing was crazy. Some Evangelion books. This is Hideki Anno, who made Evangelion. Some stuff on here, and this is actually a Playboy that my wife got me. Can I show this? Yeah, she's just chilling here. She's fine. But I thought that was cool. It's from the 1960s, but she just like got that for me. She was on a trip or whatever, but it's just hiding. I can't put that, I can't put that up here, down here with the PlayStation magazine. Down here is a little Stanley Kubrick. Shows like some stills from all of his movies. Very cool. And I've got all these little books. This guy, Letters from Steven, this guy kind of traveled the world. I believe, yeah, he just went all over the world or whatever, and he came and visited us in kindergarten, and he signed that book and gave it to us. And I just looked at it the other day to see if he's still living. He is still living. And yeah, pretty cool. Just kept that book for some reason. Some other art books down there. So just more art books. Metal Gear 1 and that Final Fantasy 1 is so gosh darn heavy, but I love those. Those are great art books. But that is the little media books, game magazines little shelf. Right here is my PC setup that I have, and also Mac. I used to kind of have my Mac stuff separately in another room in the house, but I moved that here and got actually a new Mac I'll talk about here. But right here is just a Samsung 28-inch on either side, and in this middle is a studio display. This, you're going to yell at me, hey, there's other stuff for cheaper you could have got. You could have got another monitor cheaper, but I love this display. It just pops on my Mac when I'm editing, and the colors are beautiful. Everything is plug and play and stuff. I just shelled out the cash and got that. I've got 2 external hard drives. That's what I'm running kind of like my backup on my projects and stuff I work on, or the channel and other projects I work on, along with media where movies and TV shows and stuff live. And right here is brand new. I just got this. This is an M3 Ultra Studio. Costed an arm and a freaking leg, but I got in right before the RAM AI nonsense that made everything a gajillion dollars. Still was very expensive, but 96 gigs of RAM, M3 Ultra. The thing just absolutely screams. I love this thing. And I took too long to upgrade. I had an iMac, the M1 iMac for the longest time. And upgrading to this was like going from a freaking Volkswagen Beetle to a Ferrari. This thing absolutely screams. I love this thing, especially on these monitors. Looks great. But down here is my PC, and that has a 2070 Super. I don't know, it's an Intel processor with it, but 2070 Super is what I use to game on. And it does pretty good for 1440, what I use it for. And basically, I will not be upgrading anytime soon because of everything going too expensive. So that is what I will be sticking with for the foreseeable future. So that is the same rig that you saw last time. Above it is these headphones that I adore. These are Sony XM4s. I did a lot of research, and these were the ones that I kind of wanted to get, but they're wireless headphones. They are awesome. They can connect to 2 different devices like pretty quickly, kind of like how Apple, you'll jump your AirPods from device to device, but I use it on my Mac and I use it on my iPhone, but I've got it to connect before to my Switch, and it can do the same thing and jump really quickly between them. But I love these things. They're comfortable on my head. I work on them, or work with them, day in and day out, and the battery lasts a good chunk of time as well. So XM4s. And ignore all that. I saw a video recently that said they've given up on cable management, and I'm right with them because it's freaking impossible. And what they did is they put a whiteboard on the back edge of their desk. So on that other side, I'm going to do the same thing. I just keep forgetting to do it, but get a big poster board that goes down the bottom. You hide all that crap, and if you need to fix stuff, you just move that poster board. Genius. Nobody will ever see it. Nobody will ever notice. It's a white wall back there anyways. And look how crappy that looks. That looks terrible. But you're not going to see it soon. And you shouldn't be looking under somebody's skirt anyways. This is my skirt, by the way, the desk. But there is the computer. And I wanted to show real quick, too. I got this recently. What I'm doing is I'm playing. I have this connected via an HDMI to these transmitters. I didn't even talk about this transmitter, sorry, on the other side. What those do is they take, the HDMI goes to these boxes, and then it converts it to a Ethernet cable, because Ethernet can travel way better without hiccups and stuff over the distance I needed it to, up in my ceilings of the basement. That then converts back to HDMI and goes to my TV over there, and this is where I play. That is where I play with on my PC, is over there on that couch with that TV. I don't play here. I cannot sit in a computer chair unless I'm working. It just puts me into work mode. So I play on that couch when I'm in the game mode. I do that. But what I was running into, so I do Steam Big Picture mode for that. And what I got recently was one of these. They're called SwitchBot. And what it is basically like an online connected little lever. So I hit a button, I just pull it up on my iPhone, whatever, a little widget or whatever, and I hit, hey, turn on PC. This comes down, this will turn my PC on, and my PC boots directly into, the only thing it does is boots to Steam Big Picture mode. So you can kind of look at this thing as this is my Steam machine already, and the Steam machine's not out. But this is how I made it. This thing for my headphones, Xbox controller, that's for the keyboard or whatever, but yeah, there's my little humble PC. It's not a 5090. I would like to upgrade one day, but with the craziness with the RAM and all that, that is what I got for a long time. And there's my keyboard and mouse, except for the PC when it's time to play with it, and another SSD for my Mac Studio. But yeah, I love this setup. Took a while to afford this again and kind of get to where it is now. And I got this little IKEA chair. Might have saw it in the last game room tour. That's still the same, and what have you. But yeah, love this little place that I work. And let's continue the games and action figures. So here is this corner. Over here is my kind of homage to my childhood. This shelf of all the action figures I loved. I got the new versions of them, you'll see here. But I also have the old ones, but they're not displayed. But we'll start with the top here real quick. I got the WiiU, Wii boxes. I love the boxes. As you can see over here, I love displaying the boxes for the games are really cool, but especially the consoles, some of those old ones. But when the Wii came out, I mean, look at that. That was the first time things were that slick in 07. Oh my gosh. Or 06, I think. It just was so slick to have that kind of modern look on a console. So I kind of like that. There's the Wii U, RIP. And this came from a Club Nintendo. But back in the day, Club Nintendo, you could turn in points or whatever. I think they have a kind of stupider version now of that. But this, my dad had found that at a half-price bookstore for me. And got that, and has all the figures on it. Thought that was pretty cool sitting up there. We'll get into the figures. And this is Figuarts. Yeah, Figuarts Power Rangers. They've made these a gajillion times. But these are Figuarts, and I think these are just amazing posable versions of these. The only thing, they didn't come with stands. I had to get these stands from like Amazon or whatever, or eBay, I can't remember. But these will fall without that, and they didn't include the stands. Most figures are going to do that, include the stand now. These back here are Hasbro Power Ranger figures, and I had to get the baddies. I remembered. But I love those. Love how those came out in the monsters back there. And Zordon, you got to get Zordon. He talks, I believe, or at least he lights up. And then there's this one is actually me as a Power Ranger. There was something years ago, I don't even know if they continue to do it, but it's through Hasbro, and you could send them a photo of your face and they could scan it and do this little scan process through an app, and then they would send you the figure. And I think it took a while to get back to me, but they finally did send it. And I had to do it for 6-year-old me. 6-year-old me is like, oh, that would be so cool to be a Power Ranger. So I did it and fulfilled 6-year-old me's dream. But love the freaking Power Rangers. I have a gajillion of these figures, but no space to store them or display them, what have you. But had to get the newer stuff, the more modern figures there. Next up is the Batman. And Batman's, I think, my favorite of all of my action figures, all the stuff I own or whatever. So they made these, and gosh, where are they? These are DC collectibles. They came out with these remake, basically, versions of those old, I think Kenner did the original of the DC, the animated series, sorry, Batman animated series. But man, these came out in 2015, they started maybe, I want to say. And I was getting like Batman, I got Robin, you know, I got the Phantasm back here, and Mask of the Phantasm, and I started getting some of these, and then I just kind of fell off. I think I got the Penguin, I got Catwoman, whatever. I was like, oh, that's all I need. And I fell off. Well, years later, I got this more space, and I was like, oh, I want to fill this out. These figures jumped up astronomically. I don't know if they've crashed, but there is one in here I paid like $225 for, $240, because it was so expensive, so rare. They just didn't ever reprint these. And they are, I think to this day, maybe reprinting Batman you might see every now and then and stuff, but some of these other ones like Scarecrow and stuff was expensive. Two-Face was expensive, but man, I love this art style on animated series, so it was worth it to me. And I love, love, love how these turned out. These are just perfect in my mind how those figures looked as a kid playing the old Kenner ones. But I had to go back and basically get these later on after they had went out of print, and they were not cheap. But I love how the shelf looks with them. They're just awesome figures. Down here is Pokemon. This is stuff I didn't sell, but I kind of had to store away because I had way too much like Pokemon stuff all around the last time in the game room. But back here are graded versions. You can find that video on my channel when I actually sent these 3 to get graded back in the day, because I just wanted them protected. I probably didn't need to do that, but I did grade them, and that is the Shadowless Charizard and the base set versions of, not first edition, but base sets of Blastoise and Venusaur back there too. And these I found on Facebook Marketplace. And there was more. I ended up selling the other ones, but there was like 10, 13 packs of these. And I reached out to the guy thinking, oh my gosh, people have already like scooped these up. And I said, hey, like I want to meet to get these or whatever, because it was a good price. And he's like, hey, you're the first person that hasn't lowballed me. So people kept lowballing them, but it was already a great price. And I got those and met up with them. It felt like a drug deal. It was kind of met in a public place, but I don't think he even realized the extent of what he had and stuff. But yeah, I got those 3 packs, and I really just wanted to keep them, like I said, and display them. And before they were displayed on a wall, put them on their own little shelf here with this little Figuarts Blastoise. Blastoise is my favorite Pokemon. Fat Pikachu plush. I had it since I was a kid. This came with like cards or whatever from the modern cards or whatever, and these old plushies I got around the same time as those old Nintendo ones. And down at the bottom, last but not least, I loved X-Men. And this figure line I think is still going. I'm still waiting. I want to get Beast, and I want to afford the other ones. They were a little bit too pricey on some of the X-Men figures I was wanting, but these are Marvel Unlimited. I could be messing that up. Marvel Legends, I think it might be, but they did these for, they're doing them currently, I think, for X-Men. I think they're still doing them. I hope they are. But this is the ones I've got recently of Wolverine and Magneto and Gambit. I think looks awesome. But I had these figures as a kid, and you could see kind of one back there. But they made quite a bit of these. I forgot who made the original as a kid, but I had to get Spider-Man. He was pretty pricey, but I had to get the original Spider-Man. I love Marvel, but I'm not like huge on that. You can see Beast back there. Those are the ones from when I was a kid, and that Spider-Man. But in the meantime, just to fill out the shelf, I put the old stuff. But I do want to get, the rest of this line at some point. I think they look great. I love the remakes of these old figures. They just put you back to how they looked on the cartoon perfectly. But that is the little X-Men place, and that completes talking about the little childhood action figure shelf. We're in a new millennium for sure. This is starting with the Game Boys at the top all the way down to GameCube at the bottom. This whole kind of corner, I've kind of moved a bunch of stuff around since the last thing, and I'm very happy with this space that's I'm kind of restricted to with the boxes I want to show. I want to show some of the front covers to some games, all that stuff. I really had to get very economical with how I placed these, and I'm very happy with where I landed now versus what it looked like then. A lot of these were stacked different stuff I just wasn't happy with. I had to get rid of some games, some figures and stuff I wasn't too keen on, and I'm very happy with these new updates. If you're coming from the old videos, if you're brand new, then you're just gonna have a good time all around. But up here is my original Game Boys. Again, these were all, as I've said, 95% of the stuff is when I was a kid, and just kept the boxes. I just was a pack rat like that, very OCD. I had to keep all this stuff very nice and stuff, but this is my Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy Micro here. And these stands are from a company that just went out of business and broke my heart very recently, but these are rose-colored gaming. Just went out of business. God, I hope that they come back someday or whatever, but they made these nice acrylic stands for everything from consoles to the controllers, everything in between. But I loved those, and you'll see more of them as I go along here, because they would have like the logo on it and stuff, and they were so nice. And then these are just from like Hobby Lobby or Michael's or something. I think Michael's, just to display them too. But there's that. The Game Boy Micro has kind of gone rare because it came out after the DS was out, and it was kind of a very weird experiment. It hurt my eyes. My eyes would get blurry after I would play that thing because it's so small of a screen. Here is my Game Boy Advance collection and a little Nindroid of, I think it was just called Red, of the original game they made. The starter Pokemon there. I love that little figure, and I'm surrounded by my Pokemon collection. Those are complete with the little wireless thing. I got those back in the day in middle school. Loved. I kept those boxes too because, again, I loved Pokemon back in the day. But love those remakes to the original. I thought they did an amazing job. This was where I was kind of falling out of Pokemon a little bit. I was getting a little bit older, and I didn't really like Ruby too much my first go around, but still got him. Still love them. There's the rest of my games. These, yes, continuing from the other Game Boy games, I got rid of the majority of these. I did keep maybe the Kingdom Hearts one. I still kept. There was a handful I kind of kept around because I wanted to keep them, but I did have to repurchase the majority of what you're seeing right now. The Golden Sun ones really hurt repurchasing those. That sucked. Loved Super Mario Bros. 3 on Game Boy. Ate that up. Played that a ton in middle school. So this is like, we're getting into my middle school days here. Here is the DS, which I thought I would have a bigger collection for, but I think I just sold some other games. I bought a bunch of games that just weren't good back in the day, and maybe that was part of it. But here is my DS collection. I did love the DS, that technology with the touchscreen, having 3D on the go, Nintendo, amazing. I really did love the DS, even though my collection is not huge. I did love Professor Layton, and I started playing these more towards coming into I went back to and started playing in my going into college. It was before the 3DS had come out. Down here is my DS collection. Now, I kind of broke a rule. I didn't want to buy something I didn't have as a kid, but I did, when the DS came out, I was kind of envious of people that had the DS Lites, and they kept just putting these out kind of every year, every 2 years, and I was kind of burnt because I was like, okay, you gave them you couldn't have given me a better screen now. So I was kind of like protesting at the time. The DS or Nintendo with their DSs, because they felt like they just kept pumping these out. And I was like, dang, I wish I had that good light on my screen, the backlight. But yeah, that's my original DS. At the time when the DS came out, my dad had to take me to that Game Crazy store connected to Hollywood. They didn't have a midnight launch. I had to go early in the morning. I went like at 9 a.m. My dad got up and took me on a weekend or whatever when they did they just opened the store with it and they had them in stock. But loved the DS. That's my original one. And then these three I bought probably late 2010s. No, actually I bought them when I was here. So after the pandemic sometime, I bought these because I just wanted to have them. And I remembered I had an ex-girlfriend that played this one. I would play her model sometimes. So I did have memories of playing this. And I did like the light better on that. And then I had a friend who had this and stuff. So I kind of went back and was like, you know, let's just get these. Let's just complete the line out. So I wanted to own all the Nintendo consoles. So I got the other one, the Nintendo DS XL, which I didn't know anybody that had. I think that was getting close to when the 3DS was coming out too. Same with the Micro. Down here is my PlayStation 2 collection. It spans 2 different shelves, which I try to keep. I tried my best to keep each collection on the one shelf if I can, but with PS2, I couldn't. Just there was so much good stuff on the PS2. But I moved around my Final Fantasy. I got rid of 2 old figures that I had because I hated them, of Titus and Yuna. And now these are the new updated PlayArts Kai versions of these figures. They didn't have a remake coming out of Final Fantasy X or whatever. They just decided to do a remodel of these figures, I guess based on the HD remaster. But the HD remastered versions that came out in 2014. It's one of my first videos on this channel is a review of those figures. And man, I just hate those figures. Now that time has gone on, I don't know if I was saying stuff then, but those are just ugly figures. They made these, and these are awesome. I think these look so great. I loved these. So there's that. That's one of my first figures I ever owned. My friend got that for me for my birthday back in like 04. That's Final Fantasy X-2 Yuna. And that's from like 04 or whatever. Original statue back there. There's the games. There's the limited edition for PS3, but I just wanted to keep my Final Fantasy X stuff because that's one of my favorite games ever made right there. You'll see that as it goes along. I keep my favorites from that console or my standouts. I try to keep figures with them and show the cover art for the front. I love when I could show the cover art there, but here's my PS2 collection. Got some Kingdom Hearts, some Jak and Daxter, an Amiibo, Ratchet and Clank, Dragon Quest VIII I adored. All these games I adored. Moving down here, continuing the PlayStation 2 collection. Very small PSP collection. I had more games, but they were just trash, and I ended up just selling them. But I will say, when this PSP came out, oh my gosh, I felt like I was from the future when I got that. The graphics were incredible at the time, coming from, you got to think, from Game Boy Advance. And even the DS had come out, I think, a year before this. This came out in 05, I want to say. Or actually, they might have come out at the same time. I'm not sure. I think it was 05, though. But the graphics on this thing was unbelievable. I loved the PSP. Felt so deluxe. It felt so adult and mature, and just it felt like an electronic for an adult. And I got that, back when I was in like 8th grade, so it was kind of a big deal. And right there is one of my favorite games on the console, along with Final Fantasy X, is Dark Cloud 2. Love Dark Cloud 2. Wanted to give it its little display there. And lastly is the Gamecube and Wii. And as much as I kind of feel similar with these consoles as I did the N64, where like the classics are classics. Like there is just some amazing stuff on here. But I don't have a large collection. I kind of got it later in its life cycle, about 2 years after it had come out, I believe. And you'll see I've got the box for this. You'll see in a little bit, but I have the box for the GameCube, and it came with the Zelda Collector's Edition, which you'll see here in a second. It gets its own little shelf of Zelda stuff, but yeah, humble little collection there. There's my Wii section, Wii controller stuff, and that's on Rose Colored Gaming had closed out, and I was so bummed. Here's the logo, as you can see on Rose Colored Gaming. They can get, if it'll focus. Focus. There it is. It put the logo on there. But they closed out, and I had to find like an Etsy shop that 3D printed this, which it's okay. I really wish I would have kind of get an acrylic thing before they closed down. So bummed. And nobody makes one. I couldn't find one. Maybe link it to me if you can find one that's acrylic. I'd like to swap it out. But I wanted to show the nunchuck and the controller there. And there is my Wii collection. I do have the big box for that Mario Kart Wii, but it just took up too much space. I had to remove it out of here. But that is this section here, ending with the Wii. Okay, starting at the top of this shelf, right here, we've got my Halo little shrine that I have. And this is, I don't believe I got to talk about this. Maybe, no, I don't think I did a game room since this. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'll talk about it here. I got some signatures on the original Halo, but that is the rarest thing. It's probably neck and neck. It's harder to see the price for this because I don't think these sell much. But this is a graded WADA 9.8, which I have a video on the channel for. I might link it here if I remember as well. But it's me getting this and being shocked because the story behind getting this was crazy. Getting the original Halo 2 sealed collector's edition was a wild story. But that is probably my rarest, above the Pikachu. Yeah, I think it is, but it's hard. It goes back and forth because it's hard to see the price because they don't sell 9.8, so they're just so rare. So that probably is the most rare thing in the entire collection. But I love Halo 2. Love that I have that. This, a couple years ago, we went to that Torg gaming expo I was talking about earlier in the video and got to meet the voice actors. This was an amazing experience. We have a podcast. We talked about it, me and my friend Travis. It was really cool. They spent some time with us. We got some great pictures from it, and it was an amazing time. I'll try to remember to link that too here in the video. But that was such a special experience. And right here in the middle, it says Jeff, is it Stinty or something? I forget his freaking name now, sorry to that guy. But that's the announcer. Voice of God is how he signs it, but he signed it right on top of the logo. That's my original Halo copy, but I just thought that was so funny, I didn't even care. But if I would have had this, I would have had him sign my sealed copy, maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to, get him on the original there, but definitely worth it. If they're coming to an export towards you, they spent some time with me. They talked with me and my friend for a while, and I really valued that time. There's my Xbox 360 Slim. I had the original Xbox 360. It's one of the few consoles I sold because all of the red ring stuff pissed me off. I was done with it. I didn't want to display it nowhere, so I sold that thing. Maybe one day, now nostalgia has hit. I've cooled down a little bit. I do want that in the collection, so I'll try to find that complete in box someday. But I had two different consoles I was swapping between because they kept red ringing. I would send one in for repair, keep the other one to play. It was a nightmare. It was total malarkey what they did back then. Halo 3, one of my favorite games. There's the limited edition. Got the Halo Reach controller. There's the little pad I'd always play with to type messages to friends and stuff. Love that little thing. Love the headset, the wireless headset. And there is Master Chief, polygon version. Love that little figure. And the camera for the 360. Moving down through the other, so I guess that's two Xbox stuff if you include the Halo stuff. But here is my Xbox One and the 360 collection. Again, I don't like to have two consoles on one shelf, but I'll do it like in this case where it's like it's not really worth it to have Gamecube and Wii on their own when I don't have that big of a collection for it. So same here, I didn't have a giant Xbox collection. I bought the original Xbox very close to the 360. I'm talking months before they announced the 360 or the 360 was going to come out. I ended up getting one, but so I don't have that big of a collection. But there's my 360 collection. Love the 360. It is my favorite of the Xbox consoles for sure. But there's that. Got the Oblivion Collector's Edition and the BioShock Collector's Edition. Now, going back on talking about statues that come with Collector's Edition, this thing was awesome. It's solid. It's like ceramic, I guess you would say, or like, I don't know what that is, kind of material, but it's heavy as heck. And when these came out, because of like shipping and stuff, everybody's thing like broke right here, including mine, but I super glued it back, but it like broke on everybody's, the little Big Daddy spike. But that was a big controversy back in the day. That was all we had to worry back in the day about. Oh, and then the Skyrim Collector's Edition. Oh, I already showed you the statue over on the mantle. over there at the fireplace, but there is the box. Okay, my 3DS, I had more games at one point for this. Played some of it digital I had, and you'll see some of the Zelda games and stuff. I kind of set over here on the side. You'll see more of. So it looks kind of like dainty. It looks like a very not much to chew on here. But this is my 3DS collection. I did love the 3DS. I loved Street Pass. This is all this stuff, you know, this is going for my high school days. But now we're going into my college days and going into my first full-time job coming out, graduating from college. That's when I think of when I see these games. I remember going to Best Buy and doing these experiences when this was coming out. There was a huge deal when the Super Smash games were coming out Super Smash Brothers games were coming out, 3DS and Wii U. Got this statue from a Nintendo Club promotion thing they were doing. And the last two, they only made two Professor Layton games, and they were done. And I have not touched the series since. I think it's coming back, but I have not played any of the ones where they made the spinoff with his daughter or something, or somebody. And then here is the second row. This is the 3DS games, or the consoles. So I did have this one, and then I'll show the other ones because they're limited edition Zelda consoles, so they're not here. Anything Zelda you're about to see, you're about to get a shock of your life. But this was my original launch console. This thing flunked so hard on the sales that they made an ambassador program. And what they did is they gave us free GBA games. There was something else. And they still to this day have not released those, like some of those games that were on that. It was pretty shocking that they did that and then never never allowed those for sale since then. So it was kind of a big deal, but they were out of their mind with the pricing, I think, at the time, and they just didn't have a lot of good games at the time. So that was kind of a mess console at first. And the 3D was cool, but you had to keep your head still, and it doesn't get fixed, I don't think, until the new 3DS, when it tracks your eyes and it's perfected. And I love the 3DS's, the new 3DS's 3D effect. Bought this just for a collection at one point. Again, I got my big boy job. At that time, the full-time job, I'm able to purchase this. This console I found at a yard sale. They were wanting $25. I think I asked them to come to 20. And I was like, oh, it's a 3DS with a faceplate. And I remembered I was so mad. I wanted the smaller 3DS. I don't want the fatter, bigger 3DS. I wanted something I could carry around that's easier to play. And I looked up and was like, oh my gosh, this was the one that didn't come at launch, the 3DS XL. The new 3DS XL came to launch in US. Only in Japan, it launched with both of them. Years later, I don't know when, I just lost track of it. This came out later in US. Probably maybe before the Switch, right before the Switch had come out or something or whatever. And it kind of flew under my radar. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is expensive. This is one of the more rare things in my collection too. But I had to buy the box separately. I kept watching. I bought this for like $50 on eBay or whatever and got the box. And made it complete in box there. And there is the new Nintendo 2DS XL. They released quite a bit of different models here for the 3DS. They were capitalizing on that, but that one just does not have 3D. Never played that one. Just kept with the 3D and the 3DS XL models. Okay, PlayStation 3. I think this console for me had an amazing second half. It had a terrible first half. This console was hard to develop for. That's not my original PS3. I punched myself. This is one of the other ones I punched myself for getting rid of. I had this original console. And I kept the box. I kept the box with me. What happened was the disc reader went out. And at the time, they had a promotion where it's like, hey, trade in your PlayStation 3 console. And you can get, if it's broken or whatever, pay like, it was like $100 at the time, maybe $80, and we'll give you a PS3 Slim, and it had a bigger hard drive. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have more like hard drive space, and it's a Slim console, like cool. But I gave up the backwards compatibility. So I bought this on Facebook Marketplace. The guy had it, and he put it up on Thanksgiving like day. And I rushed to go get it, and I met him in a parking lot or whatever, and he had a great, amazing price on it because he didn't know about the backwards compatibility stuff. I had him send me a picture. I was like, can you send me a picture of the back, like what it says on the back with the code or whatever? And it was a backwards compatible system. So very happy I got that back and I still have the box, but bummed that I sold my original. Just so dumb of me. Last of Us Collector's Edition there. Case, Steelbook case. There's my PS3 collection. So again, I do love this console, but man, how hard it was to develop for. We kind of got some glitchy, crappy versions of third-party games. But I had Rock Band for this console. As you can see, the Rock Band games there. And then freaking Square Enix made this Kingdom Hearts 1.5, and it looks so stupid on a shelf. And that's art book is like built into the case where the game's at. Well, I'll take that to my grave that I'll be mad about that. Now to a console that rivals the PlayStation for me. The PS4 had so much good stuff on it. There it is down there. Maybe 1.5, you want to say, shelves I've devoted to it. But so many amazing exclusives. The quality versus all the PS1, PS2 or whatever, it's unmatched. It is the best console of all time from Sony. I have a little nostalgia and rose-colored glasses for PS1 and PS2, but just so many great games. And the Last Guardian's Collector's Edition here, I adored The Last Guardian. I bought that Collector's Edition when it went up. I hit pre-order. I didn't even look what was in it because I was so hyped on that game. But here's my PS4 collection. Love the PSVR as well. That's the other thing is I adored the PSVR. Even with all its 8,000 cables, that was a problem. But I love the games on it. Love the PSVR. Just adored it. So this was, my time with my first job, and I had money and was able to get this at launch. It was the first console I got at launch myself. The other ones I had to wait for Christmases and wait for my parents to buy me, but I was able to buy this console, not waiting on a birthday or Christmas for the first time. And that's my launch console there, my PS4. I got the anniversary controller, which I was so happy about because they first showed this controller with the anniversary console, and those went out of stock in like milliseconds. And I was so bummed, and I was like, man, if I could just get even the controller. I just kind of think the controller is really cool, and those went up separately. So, thankful that they did that. So I got that just for display. PS Vita, I did not actually get at launch. I wanted to, at the time, it was cool with I kind of was like, let's just get digital. Let's get them on there if you're going to download them. And you had to buy their memory cards, which were ungodly expensive. And they were only going to hold a couple games, so you needed to get a bigger size. And I was like, I'm not doing that. And I kind of boycotted them. I did not buy the Vita, and the Vita was kind of a failure over here in the US. In Japan, it kind of did good, but those memory cards, that was so stupid, along with not having that great of a collection over here in the US. You might fight me on that. You might say there's some good stuff, but for me, I played Gravity Rush, which on there, which I eventually just played on PS4. Got the collection on there. Or not the collection, the kind of port remake on there. But I played that on there. I wish to this day, I don't know, I didn't play the Uncharted. I wanted to play the Uncharted on there, but never did. I think I was hoping it would get ported to PS4, and it did not. And there's my PSVR using the old PS3 Move controllers. It was a mess of a VR, but it was so fun back then. It's so next gen and so just exciting. I love this way more than the PSVR 2. Even though the PSVR 2 has one cable, so much easier to get in and out of the game. The support on this one, there was some really special titles on the PSVR. But that is this shelf right here. Next up is this corner shelf, and this shelf is my homage to anime, my anime figures that I have, my favorite animes. Got to get the figures for them. The top here, just chilling. We got the 360, Xbox 360 Slim, and the original Xbox boxes. I'm saying box a lot. And on this first shelf here, we've got Berserk, Guts in his Berserk form. Amazing figure. This is a Pop Parade figure. Pop Parade makes these incredible, incredible statues. They're not posable. I like posable stuff. I'm kind of, as I get older, I am kind of getting into statues a little bit more. But man, Pop Parade, shouts out. They make some incredible figures for a great price compared to everything else. Now with all these tariffs, I don't know if they're it's still a great deal. But man, affordable. I thought they were very affordable, and look how good that looks. Oh, so cool. Got my Dragon Ball Z figures. I believe I had more of these, but I had too many of these freaking Dragon Ball Z figures. Something had to give. But these are Figure Arts Zero figures of Super Saiyan, Goku, and Vegeta. And then we got Piccolo here just with the dust on his feet. So I do like how crazy detail you get when you get a statue, non-posable one versus a posable figure. But that's the top shelf. And the next two are devoted to my favorite anime, one of my favorite series of all time. And that's Evangelion. These are, I don't think these were Pop Parade. I forgot the name of them, but they're statues as well. And I was happy to get those. I wanted them to do Shinji as well, Misato or whatever, but right now I just got two best girls, got Asuka and Rei. And these are Revoltech figures. When I got back into collecting, when I got my first job, I really wanted to get these Evangelion figures. And I love these, what they did with these. These are Revoltechs. That was my first one. This kind of started my whole downfall of these figures, video games and whatnot. I kind of got back into, but I love these figures. Very posable. You can put them into some cool situations or bad situations like Unit 1 right here. Second row of these. All the different units. This figure actually is not in the anime. It was in the kind of preview for 4.0 after 3.0 had come out. Or actually maybe it was the preview for 3.0, not 4.0. I can't remember. I don't know. But it never came out that way. They never ended up going that route, but they made the figure still. I thought that was really cool. It was a Japan like Evangelion store exclusive or whatever. I had to import it. But I thought it was a cool looking figure, so I had to get it. But yeah, I like these figures. I like this freaking, how big, long this gun is for this figure. Looks really cool. But that's Evangelion. Down here is some Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, and there's an Attack on Titan. Eren Yeager. And that's how he looked in the first season. And it was so long the wait that I got this, and it was like, oh, are we ever going to get another season? But I mean, that's the that's the figure I have. I know they have different ones now, but I got that one because I loved season 1. And there was a huge wait between season 2, I think, or a huge wait from 2 to 3. I can't remember, but it was multi-year. It was like 3+ years. I was a different person by the time it came out. But I love Gurren Lagann. Recently, those came to the theater around here, the movies, which were kind of a retelling of the anime. But I love these figures. I forgot if they're Pop Parade. They might be Pop Parade as well. But I love how those came out. Those look really good. Simone with the drill that pierces the heavens. And these Kill la Kill figures, I think, are hard to get now. And when everybody sees these and says, why are they so scantily clad? I do have to remind them, their clothes are alive. Their clothes are alive. And that definitely gets me out of all the weirdness when someone sees this. But yeah, I just love these animes and had to do the homage to them. Got to give them their own space in the basement. Now we get to the final modern shelf. This is from the time when I was, at my first full-time job to currently. Start at the top, taking up 2 huge shelves full, is my complete Amiibo collection. This took from 2014 to almost 2023. I think they finally came out with Sora was the final Amiibo that I needed, but they started putting these out and I was stupid and kept collecting them. The hunt was so fun trying to get these. Some you had to come in the store for, some you had to get really lucky between one of the retailers when they put them up live. The Amiibo mania was crazy. And they are still cool. And I liked them for the first reason because they look like in Smash Brothers Melee, those figures you would get the trophies for. And that freaking intro, and you'd have all these on the floor or whatever. I used to have them all in a stack or whatever, just like how they had on one of my old displays. But I found that this IKEA Billy bookcase with these acrylic stands was perfect for this, and they all fit. I barely have any millimeter for anything else to fit except these. But what I did move around from before is I did move the controllers, the Smash Brothers Collector's Edition with the controller up there. That fit, and along with the Switch Ultimate version with its controller there as well. But I love all these. I think these look really cool, especially as they get newer, they get more detailed. But I'm just a sucker for these. I know some people sold. I've actually thought about selling these, but I was like, these look incredible. I love Smash Brothers, and these are like my trophies. I mean, they're my real life trophies. Like hunting these things down took a long time, and they're still like pretty special to me. They kind of just remind me of that time, just playing Smash with friends and hanging out. And I was a sucker for these. I don't even think I have all the DLC characters for Smash Ultimate. I don't think I even bought all of them. But I bought their Amiibo, for sure. And what had happened was I kind of stopped collecting these because what happened was they scared the crap out of me. When the Cloud figures came out, they came out with these kind of different sets. So the Bayonetta one had the different sets here. And when I saw that, I went F off because I was thinking they were going to do alternate versions and poses for Mario and Luigi, and it's like, I'm never going to complete this set. Like, I'm done. I'm burnt. So I kind of walked away. I kept that and then didn't worry about them, any new ones that had come out. Well, they finally they put out some new ones or whatever, and they put out freaking Banjo-Kazooie and K. Rool. When it got to those, I was like, I could not resist anymore. I was like, oh, let's complete it. So I'm glad I stuck with it, but that is the Smash Brothers collection. I'm very happy with how these look on a shelf. Are just unbelievable. They're so fun to look at on a shelf. Moving down is the Wii U. Continue on from some Wii U paraphernalia at the top with the controller. There's my original Wii U console I went and bought. That was a weird launch. I walked into Best Buy. There was no line. I got that thing in 2012, I think that came out. 2013, maybe 2012 was 3DS. I can't remember. No, 3DS was 2011. But this was a weird console, man. This was a weird one. So much bad stuff about it. The marketing, everything was just bull crap about it. But I had fun. I had fun with Nintendo Land. I ended up just made it look like New Super Mario Brothers here with these Mario figures I got, and these are figure arts. And if anybody else has this figure, oh my gosh. Time waits for no one. This Yoshi figure, whatever plastic they use, has started to disintegrate over time. It's hard. Hold on, let me focus. Disintegrate over time, as you can see here. It's kind of a bummer. But here is my Wii U collection here. I'll move it over. Not much to go on, and that Devil's Third was hard to find at the time, and it's gone up in price now. I think it peaked at $500. It's down to like $250, $275 now to purchase one. But I went out because it was looking so stupidly funny. I found one GameStop a little ways from me and went in there and kind of held it aside, and I bought it. I think it was like $45. I don't even think it was like a full price game. I can't remember. That is the Wii U section. Now we're getting to the Switch. And here's the thing about the Switch. I hated the spines on these. They're just plain. They have nothing on them. They're just red with the white. If you can see it on the side, I don't want to like pull one out. I just hate them that much. But they just have white lettering. So I tried to, for the Switch section, to always show the front, to always show the covers, because I hate the spines. They're the worst spines of any console ever made. So there's my original launch Switch. I loved the Switch. I just adored it. It's up there. I can't even. I think I have more fond memories because when I was a kid playing these video games versus an adult. But I will say this is one of my favorite consoles of all time. Now the bullcrap between like the build quality of these, I scratched my screen on this dock. The Joy-Con drifting for people. I think the console hardware itself had so many freaking issues on it. But the ability to take your console and put it into the dock and go handheld, it bypasses all that. And the library was ginormous. So I give it a pass on all the bullcrap that it needed to be called out for. There's the Mario Kart with the little camera. I love bugging my dogs. I take that out every now and then and play with them, and they go absolutely ballistic with that thing. They hate it. They go nuts. There's the Mario games. I got that signed a couple years ago. Charles Martinet, is that how you say his name? The original voice for Mario. Met him, very nice guy. Talked for a little while. And he signed my Super Mario Odyssey. I wanted to give him like, hey, that's the last one he got to like Mario game first party he got to make. For them, for Nintendo. Had him sign that. Here's more of my Switch games. Some of them are sealed because what I ended up doing, I felt like they took too long to come out with this Switch 2. They kind of sat on their hands. So you'll see, I don't like to have a lot of sealed games in my collection. Some of them just become sealed because I just passed on them and then they became rare and I just kept them. If I didn't get time back in the day to play them new. But I bought these just to have them and put them on a shelf, but I emulated a ton of stuff at the end of the Switch life cycle. A ton of the games on that second half. I was like, things were going below 30 frames per second. It was making me sick to play it. It looked terrible on my OLED. So I started emulating the majority of the games you're seeing. But I bought them. But I emulated them. And played through emulator, and they played amazing 60 frames and 4K on there. So you'll see I've got one Switch 2 game. I don't want to play. I'm kind of done with dealing with. I don't want to do the key cards, but the key cards I can resell these games if I need to. So I've kind of not been a sour on the key cards, even though I don't like them. I don't like that you don't have all the game on the physical cartridge. You can fight with me in the comments or agree with me. I'm kind of like I don't like them either. But I had some Amazon points. I was like, well, let's get Dragon Quest VII. So I'm currently playing that as we are filming this video as of now. And that is the only Switch 2 physical game I have. I have the Mario Kart bundle, came with it digitally, didn't come with it physically for Mario Kart World. So I've kind of treated Switch 2 as a digital console because the way I see it, you're just it's much more convenient for me nowadays. And they're doing this key card crap too. So it's like, why bother? Why take up physical space if it's just a code? You know what I mean? So that's how I see it. And people are saying, well, what about game, to conserve this for multiple generations to come? Someone's going to figure out emulation and we'll have it backed up. That's how it always goes. I've lived long enough to see that's how it goes. But yeah, Switch 2, I'm kind of treating more digital now. And the second half of Switch console, I emulated because they needed to catch up. And lastly is a kind of another not ginormous collection because some of the stuff has been digital I've got willingly and unwillingly. But that is my PS5 collection. But they do have some cool stuff. I have all of the Part 1, Part 2, and they even did another cash grab to keep the studio afloat. They did Last of Us Complete. Some people said Last of Us 2, for sure. It was like, why did we even remake that when it looked incredible on PS4? But I think they were doing a little Kickstarter to try to keep the studio afloat as they make the Heretic Legacy. Is that what it's called? Heretic Prophecy is their next game. So I got all those collector's editions there. Had to shill out for the other PS5 controller anniversary, PlayStation 1 anniversary controller. Love this controller, and it is the Astrobot. And this was hard to get, and then they reissued it, and the only difference is the eyes are kind of like in happy mode, like kind of squinting or whatever, looking up, little carrot eyes up. But I got this one and wanted to display it. I think it looks really cool. I think they did an incredible job on that with that gloss. And man, they're just like, the controllers now are just not hitting versus the way this one hit and the anniversary one. But man, they've got some weird ones. Like the Death Stranding one stunk. There's something else that just stunk and just did not look good. But these are fun. They have like the face on the touchpad and all that. And same there, Astrobot Physical came with a poster inside. I think there's a manual, maybe it's just the poster I'm thinking of, but man, like they had some care to it. I bought the figure too, the Nendroid, because I just love Astrobot. I first played it on the PS4. I played the Rescue Mission for PlayStation 4 and loved it. And then this was like a game changer for me. It totally let you feel the difference with the DualShock 5 with Astrobot. That was amazing. Oh wait, no, there was a thing that came with the PS5. I'm stupid. It was a downloadable thing. This was a separate game that came out recently. I'm stupid. Well, they're all called like Astrobot. They don't have like names I can keep remembering. But the one on PS5 that came with the console for free was incredible. And it probably led to this because it was so fun. It got you used to the controller feedback. And I was shocked by the feedback on the controller. It made me pivot from buying third-party games on PC, and it made me pivot to buying them on PS5 because I wanted that controller feel, that feedback, that haptic feedback with the triggers and the vibration. Not a big collection there of my PS5 games, but that's what I got. And that is my modern stuff. And now we're going to get to some, if you saw the old Game Room videos, some new updates coming your way. So this is a newer edition that I was so excited to get, but it was so expensive to get a cabinet and to put it together. This was kind of ordeal too, because these are glass cases and one of the wood bottoms or tops that this goes to came cracked. So I had to have them send me a new piece to it. I was glad I didn't have to return this because it was like, this is impossible to return with all this glass on it, you know. But these are again hardwired. I got some of these same kind of LED lights that run right down, and they're kind of angled, which is nice. They kind of angle down and over at your shelves, and they just all run from a touch button. So they're nice. And these are wider than the Billy bookcases as well, I believe. Yeah. And I didn't want it to go too high above right here where the window's at. Well, let's start at the top. This was one of the hardest collector's editions I ever got. And it was hard because they did not put them up for sale at first. They kind of showed them off. And usually that's like that later that day, those are going to go live. And they didn't. It was a week. I was losing sleep because I kept checking my phone. I kept getting up and checking my phone. I had people like programming something, like I did some software development back then. We were trying to make stuff to where like if a page updated, it like pinged our phone. We were going nuts, but I had to have this with the hand here. Big Boss. Love that collector's edition. Amazing collector's edition. There's the Death Stranding collector's edition with the baby. Got the tape there, and the little, oh my gosh, his name starts with L. Lucina Man? I don't know. But this is an awesome thing. I think you can click it, or you have to put batteries in, and batteries aren't in it, but lights up in there. Such a funny collector's edition. Such a weird, people will see this and not know what the heck it is when they come over and see the basement. But I can't display. It's too big. There's another part to this collector's edition, and it is the suitcase. It won't fit anywhere in my game room. It is ginormous. The suitcase is too big, so it's out in my garage. But I have it complete in box and still and all that. This is new to the collection. It's the Death Stranding 2 statue, and it has the doll man here, a keychain. Hyper detailed, and this time when everyone's cheaping out on their collection edition statues, this one was not cheaped out on. It was an amazing quality statue that they worked on, but only the digital version of the game, not a physical. I understand they do that to help with the SKUs and stuff, so they don't have 300 games they have to worry about with the physical game in the box. They can't really do that anymore at scale. But I have that digital now, Death Stranding 2, which I need to get physical. I want to get a physical too. Fun game. Love that game. All right, Now, the reason I got this is I had so much extra Zelda stuff, so much extra Metal Gear stuff, and I was like, these need to have their own section of the basement. They cannot be mixed in with other, consoles. They can't be put in with the PS2. Let's get the Final Fantasy. Let's give this to that. And I was like, they're just going to have these two series are my favorite series, like neck and neck of all time, is Metal Gear and Zelda. So I have every Metal Gear game. I'm missing I don't have like Snake's Revenge, which is a game that Kojima doesn't even like that they made without him, so I'm not really bothered by it. I do want to get it still. I don't have like the MSX versions because I'm trying to stay away from the Japanese versions of the games. I just want the USA and TSC versions. We're not going to go too far where I'm collecting different language versions of the games. I don't have that much space. So I'm missing that. I'll talk about one other one I'm missing here, but I do have that same friend that got me that Evangelion when they came back from Japan as a souvenir. They got me Subsistence, Metal Gear Solid 3. And I don't have the limited edition of that, so it's Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence Limited Edition. I just don't own that. I need to buy that soon. It was expensive at the time when it came out and just never got it. But I got this recently from that Torg convention, so I'm trying to add my little blind spots in my collection for Metal Gear. But these are like my original games I bought at the time, except for like that Xbox One I never got. But I had that. I had Metal Gear, I had Twin Snakes, which is pricey now. But I got all these at launch. Most of the ones you're seeing, I got at launch of these games. But Metal Gear was one of the first games I played with my dad, with Tomb Raider on PlayStation 1 and all those. We went together. And this influenced me more than maybe any other piece of media ever has in my films that I make and stuff that I do now. But these are all Player It's Kai, and just to show you how stuff has changed in such recent small amount of time. When this came out in 2012, I want to say 2011, I can't remember when this came out, 2013, this Solidus figure, it was $100. And I remember saying that is my absolute limit. I can't go to over $100 for these figures. And it was like $100 on the dot. And I bought it and I just cringed. But now that is so cheap for a figure like this for a Player It's Kai. But how fast things change. These figures are kind of rare now. These original Player It's Kai. I don't even know if it's Kai. Maybe it was. It's just very early Kai. But these are the original Snake for Metal Gear Solid and Liquid Snake. I love those figures. I think they're very rare now. But I have those complete in box. I kept all the boxes too for these figures because I am OCD. Loved this little Nendroid. I will buy Nendroids if they're funny, if they have like something cool with them. I don't buy them often. But they had the freaking polygon. I wish they would have done like a full size like this of his model, but I was hungry for it. I was like, I'll take it. There's Delta in the back. I know, just putting it with 3. It's a remake. Down here are all the Metal Gear Solid 5. Phantom Pain. I guess Ground Zero. Yeah, Ground Zeroes and Phantom Pain stuff is on here. The PSP games. I even got, those aren't like technically canon, but I've got them. Portal Wops. I am missing, I guess you go back to 3. I'm missing Metal Gear Solid 3DS. And I'm missing the PS2 collection they put out of Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2. And I think they had 3. Yeah, I think they had 3. And I don't know. No, it might have just been 1 and 2. They put out a collection on PS2. And I haven't been able to find that at a good price too. So waiting on that. There's the steelbook that came with the collector's edition. Metal Gear Solid 5. Here's a little up close. I'll try to get of that quiet. I have right here, you're starting to see some of these I did reviews for. These were some of my first reviews I did for the channel. I reviewed these action figures. You can find them. But I thought these were awesome. This was like built the hype to 1,000,000 for Phantom Pain. I was so excited. Now, there's some disappointing stuff, but still the characters, the mood of that game was incredible. The feel and the gameplay of it is unmatched to this day. There's the Metal Gear little section right here. Again for you. Yeah, I love these series, want to give them their own space. And I also love Zelda. Here is the Zelda section. And I own every single Zelda game that was made in the US, except you won't see the freaking Philips CDI. Those are like $1,000 I gotta drop. I don't have the Philips CDI to play them. I mean, they're funny. Watching the videos on YouTube of them, they are funny, but I don't feel like they... if I can get it for $100 or I find it at a yard sale, of course I'll pick it up, but I'm not really actively seeking it, so I kind of don't count that one. But outside of that, if you subtract that, I own every single main Zelda game except for the newest one that just came out, Hyrule Warriors, but even that's a spin-off game. I own every mainline Zelda game, and its ports and stuff too. So we'll start here. And I started... What I did is I wanted to put like some of these Amiibos, so I bought, like I said, I was kind of only going for the Smash Brothers Amiibos, but they started doing the Zelda Amiibos, and I was like, oh, those are cool. So you'll see like the Twilight Princess one down here, and the Ocarina of Time one right here, which I'm waiting for the freaking Figma of those. I really want a Figma of the Ocarina of Time Link really badly. They got to do it someday. But Majora's Mask, my favorite game of all time. That's my original copy. I did get it pre-owned. Got it close to launch, but that's my original box and copy there. I do have, that's the Zelda Collector's Edition disc that came with my Gamecube I was talking about earlier. I did buy, these aren't my original copy. Everything else, also some of the Game Boy ones I had to buy after that point, like Link's Awakening I didn't have growing up, but these Zelda games I bought when I first started collecting around 2013. I was like, I gotta get the original Zeldas. And man, I spent like, along with the Marios, I spent like 60 at the time on these and thought I was like, I hated myself because it was just a lot of money at the time. And now those have definitely gone up quite a bit. More than doubled in some cases. But those are all complete in box with the map and in great condition. Yeah, I had to... I kept these boxes because it was Zelda. I did end up, along with Pokemon, I had those Game Boy Advanced titles. And I kept those boxes for that. Minish Cap I loved as a kid when that came out. I thought that was awesome. I never played these. I had to buy these when I was in my collecting run when I first got my first full-time job. These Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons here. So those were bought after. But I played those on the 3DS for the first time. Had a really fun time. Around the same time when they ported them to 3DS. And that's the limited edition for the Wind Waker remake. Ganondorf. And I loved this limited edition they did for the 3DS version of Majora's Mask too. It's almost an Amiibo, but I'm glad they didn't. It's like kind of a 6-inch kind of regular figure on a stand there. So yeah, again, I don't like to just have the games themselves. I like to pair them with a figure. I think it looks really great on a shelf. All right, now we're going to the Wii and on games. So there's the limited edition of Zelda that came with a bonus disc with a soundtrack, I think. I think that's what it is on there. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Or it might have been the Symphony. Yeah, it's a 25th year like Symphony kind of disc thing. It came with also, I mean, this is the big thing. It's the golden remote. Looked awesome. And then on Club Nintendo, you had to save up points, and I got that golden nunchuck. I had enough points and got that. And that's using a similar thing from that Etsy shop, that 3D printed. It's hard to see. Can't get over that. But same thing as the one over there. But very happy to have that, even though I hate Skyward Sword. But it does look great on a shelf, doesn't it? That looks cool. The game is more to be desired. Crossbow training. I got that. I kept the box, but I just can't display it. Not enough room. Of the gun attachment thing. I showed it over there when I lifted that desk up. It's the Twilight Princess remake, Wind Waker remake. I don't own the Wind Waker Wii U. That was too expensive for me at the time. But I do have the Majora's Mask. I played on this, the 3DS XL. Loved that. I loved getting that thumbstick and being able to like turn the camera on that with the extra little thumbstick nub they put. There's the Link Between Worlds, and that means I have a sealed copy of that because that came with the digital copy installed on the 3DS. So I wanted a physical copy too, and I just kept it new, so I have a brand new copy of Link Between Worlds. That was a very fun game. And there is my 3DS console, Link Between Worlds console. Here are some soundtracks for Ocarina of Time 3D, and they made one for Majora's Mask that I have. I think that was in the pre-order as a pre-order bonus, or as a Club Nintendo. These might have been Club Nintendo. Now I'm thinking about it. I had to get those four. Bought this recently. I didn't buy it at launch. They had a great price. It was like $25, if that. And I was like, now I'll bite on it. But it's the remake for the Game & Watch system that they have for the original Zelda. They put the whole game on. I think back then it was not that. It was that black and white screen. They had something, but they added the whole game of Zelda 1 on that. Skyward Sword, Figma, Twilight Princess Amiibo that came with the Twilight Princess Collector's Edition for Wii U. And one of the Holy Grails, this is, again, it has gone up in price astronomically, is the Majora's Mask 3DS. I learned recently that these can flake off due to humidity, so I'm buying a clear case I'm going to put on top of that because people said that protects it from the humidity, just to give it some longevity. But I played that so much. I played my 3DS a lot, and especially on that console I loved. So there is the Zelda and the Metal Gear new shelf that I got for this video. And you can't have your Metal Gear and Zelda shelf without an overflow shelf for just Zelda. Metal Gear has kind of stopped in recent years. It finally came back with the Metal Gear Delta from Konami, but now that Kojima has left Konami and had that falling out, Zelda has continued, and I have ran out of space, as you can see. I've filled it to the brim over here. So over here is kind of devoted to more Zelda. So we got the Gamecube, that's the Collector's Edition Zelda version, or it came with that Zelda Master Collection or whatever. Mario and Luigi, I think these were from Toys R Us as well, these figures I got. And that's one of the newest additions. This is Switch 2. And I got the Mario Kart World version because it was such a deal. It was like saved $30 or whatever on getting Mario Kart World separate. So that was a no-brainer for me. Put that up there. Here's Majora's Mask, first 4 figures. This Majora's Mask one, and then this, I got this recently from a friend, or actually if you watch the channel, if you've watched the channel before, we have a podcast, my friend Jacob on there. He sold that to me. He didn't want it anymore. It's brand new. Of the Breath of the Wild Link. I thought that looked really cool. And this is a Dark Horse Comics. My friend Zach got this for me for my birthday years ago. And I don't have the Twilight Princess Figma, and I wish I did. But that's as close as I get. Down here is Tears of the Kingdom. Loved Tears of the Kingdom. Absolutely adored it. Got the collector's edition, but could not fit everything that it came with. Or actually, I couldn't fit, like, there was like kind of a holder for this, so I took them all out. I guess I got to display everything it came with. Oh no, there was like some tin can or like tin art, like they printed on like tin metal. And it can't fit. So some stuff I'm not able to display. I don't have the room. But there's the steelbook and the game that's brand new, because I was so in love with this game. I'm in love with Zelda. I bought this, and it's a sealed copy of Tears of the Kingdom Standard. And then I also have it opened, and I kept it just in the box. That's a brand new one, and there's a steelbook. There is the Switch OLED. I love when I don't have these in-between versions and they make a Zelda version. I just love that. And I love how gaudy this one is. It's so gaudy. Like, look at that design and stuff. And I didn't play this much because, I was emulating. They didn't upgrade the processor on them, so there wasn't much reason to not emulate. So I didn't play this much, but I did play Tears of the Kingdom on it because I didn't want to deal with glitches when it first came out, when they were emulating it or whatever. And I just wanted to have a pleasant experience, and it was. It looked really good for even, that late in the cycle and on my TV. I thought it looked pretty good. But there is the limited edition controller. They went all out with the limited edition stuff for this, but I got that, and then not displayed. I had to kind of store it because I didn't have any more room on these shelves, but I got a ton of, I got the scarf, I got the freaking arm tattoo that made it look like Link's arm in the game. You can see it there on that Amiibo. But there was a ton, and then there was like pre-order bonuses. I have all that, just no place to store it, so it's in the garage. Maybe someday it'll come out. But these figures that they ended up making, I love this one of Link, but they made some Figmas of these, of Link, Zelda, and Ganondorf. And I love this one. There was tons of different poses and tons of accessories they come up with, but for this one, I was like, no, I want to make him come out of the shelf like he does in the game. With his ability. But yeah, and then these are from the collector's edition, these little tiny little badges. And then I bought all of the Amiibos because I'm an idiot. I just had to have the complete Zelda collection of Amiibos too. So I've got those, and I've got those are the most recent ones I've got. And these were a situation where they started going up in price. They were kind of crazy. 25 or 30 bucks or whatever, and I waited, and they went all the way down to like, I paid $10 for each of these for the newer ones that they came out with the Guardians, because they were getting so stupid with those Amiibo prices. Next is Breath of the Wild. I loved this game too. It's definitely in my top 10 games ever made. If I'm returning to one of these games, I'm going to return to Tears of the Kingdom. There's more fun stuff to build and more reason to do that. But the first time experience, oh my gosh, just going in blind to Breath of the Wild was magical. It's definitely the Ocarina of Time of this gaming generation's generation. Is going to be their Ocarina of Time. It is so fresh, so new, and it is still influencing games to this day. So I love Breath of the Wild. Got the collector's edition, got the sword, which is also another one of the top 10 most expensive things I own in my collection, most rare. Because they didn't reprint those too, and then people were like, oh, the game's amazing, and I think they rushed out and didn't have any more. There is the Wii U version, even though I didn't play it, of Breath of the Wild. I got the Switch version. There is the soundtrack that came with the collector's edition of Breath of the Wild. There's the Amiibos, and there's a little coin back there hiding that came with the collector's edition. And that's, oh yeah, the Sheikah slate case too, which I didn't use to like travel around with my Switch because I just wanted to display it, but I love that. That was an awesome collector's edition. Amazing launch. I loved that, and then Mario came soon after. Just incredible launch game. Breath of the Wild was one of the top reasons I love the Switch. And finally, these are kind of my overflow of Zelda games. These are some of the more recent titles. We've got the Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. I think that's like the third time they put out the game. The Wii U, the 3DS, and then the Switch version, which I have not played the Switch version, but it's there. I've played and beat the Wii U version. We got the Age of Calamity. That's brand new, I believe. And yeah, that Echoes of Wisdom is brand new because I emulated it. I didn't play the Skyward Sword HD, but I have that. And then Link's Awakening remake was awesome. It's opened. I definitely played that before stuff happened with the frame rates and just not being able to play the Switch games. Down here is this little acrylic thing. I think these pre-order bonuses with acrylic suck, honestly. I just think they had more care and more, love to like collector's editions or whatever, but I have that. I think the Amiibo is really cute for the Link's Awakening one. And then I have the Skyward Sword controllers, even though I don't like Skyward Sword because I'm just a sucker. So there is the overflow. I need to get, the only one I'm missing is the new, it's Age of Calamity and something, it's the Tears of the Kingdom Hyrule Warriors. I don't know the name. Something War, the Inversion War? I don't know. But that I don't own. I will own it soon. I'm just going to get it for a good price. That is the Overflow Zelda shelf. And the last figure shelf is here. This is my Final Fantasy VII tribute shelf. I adore Final Fantasy VII, and I had to get these figures. I had to get them all. And if you're a follower of the channel before, you know this is what I've been doing most of the time, has been collecting these figures. These Player Kai figures as they've come out. They have got more expensive. They've gotten crazier. I've given the good, the bad. You can check those out on the channel when you get a shot, when you get a chance. But this is the shelf. I think I've kind of showed this in some recent videos, but maybe a lot of people haven't seen some of this, especially the top, because I didn't really do any reviews for them. But let's start at the top. And that is made these Play Arts, I forgot the name of them, Play Arts something else. They're a different type of Play Arts, but they weren't the full size of the Play Arts Kai down here, like these big ones. But they did every one of the Final Fantasy VII original from the PS1, the way they looked back then. Oh, with the bike. Amazing, and I love these. So they pumped these out recently. So these are my most recent figures I've got, but these costed an arm and a leg, but man, do they look incredible. But for what they are and the size, I thought they were a little overpriced, but they look just like they did in the strategy guide and the manual and how they looked on the art on the disc. Oh, so cool. Along with that, in the game when you're playing, this is how Cloud looked like, all polygons. And they released these kind of polygon versions in Japan, and I imported these over on eBay and bought these on eBay. But I kind of placed them next to their more high-scaled version. And I love this shelf. I was able to fit everything on this one shelf for all of these people. But I hope that they make, a Vincent one. There's no Vincent polygon. And I hope they do a third wave, but I just don't know who else they would put on there. They've done Zack, they've done Sid, they've done mostly everybody, but I hope that they do Vincent someday. Of the polygon figures. There's Kate Sith, I think, is incredible. It's just ginormous on this. But you can see Yuffie back there. Trying to get the focus, sorry guys. But yeah, love this shelf. Love classic Final Fantasy VII. Here is this. I won't spend too much time because I go pretty deep into the action figure the reviews on all of these. You can check out on the channel. But I am on a mission to get all of these. I will get the complete set of all of these figures. The only ones I'm skipping are they reissued like this one with a different face, with Cloud and Aerith, and they have a different face, but all the accessories are the same, and they just change that. I ain't like paying $150 to get a new face, so that's my exception. I got Final Fantasy VII Remake. When they ported it to PS5, I got that brand new sealed. There's the remake collector's edition, or limited edition. I didn't get the collector's edition with the bike. That is kind of a blind spot in my collection. I need to get that someday. My friend Zach gave that to me. That was, I think, a pre-order bonus for a GameStop. It's like a Shinra card, staff card, if that was cool. Set that up there. This one's all the dresses, including Cloud. Get the Honeybee Inn stuff. Thought they looked great. I'm surprised they didn't do more of Aerith's. I think they were probably planning to. They did 3 of Tifa's, all 3 of Tifa's, but then they skipped, they just did Aerith's red dress. Down here is Play Arts Kai Shin, my newest Play Arts Kai figure review on the channel. And you can move the eyeballs. It's a little bit more detailed, I guess. But for the money, I was kind of disappointed in that. But man, does it look cool on the shelf. So I kind of like forget about all the bad stuff I say in the review when I see it on the shelf. It just looks awesome. There's Yuffie, and then they double dipped and got Yuffie without the brown coat. I remember doing the review and was like, that's going to be in there. I know it. There's Jessie on her bike. And I started putting the games there. So there's Crisis Core in the back. There's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This isn't final. I was just kind of waiting for I need Sid. I need Kate Sith. I want them to put those figures out, but they haven't yet. And there's Dirge of Cerberus. But I'm just kind of setting them back there. I know I can display this better, these games in the back, and kind of raise them. But I'm kind of waiting because this isn't finished. Down here, I forgot his name. I was just talking to somebody about him the other day. I loved the Remake and Rebirth series, but I forgot his freaking name. Oh my gosh, it starts with an R. I feel stupid, but that is one of the more cool figures I own in my entire collection because that bike is just ginormous. Like my hand on the face of it, like just look how freaking large it is. I got it like kind of tilted up. They have an accessory for that. And the two Shinra guards. So this collection is still ongoing. I guess it's going to be the new Shin series now because we have Vincent. Now I'm hoping Sid and Kate Sith are going to be, I guess they're going to be Shin as well, but going to damage my pocketbooks. But there is the Final Fantasy shelf. I know some of you that have watched those reviews would want to see how it's coming along. And there it is. And finally, on this last corner here where the fireplace was at, as we wrap all the way back around, I've got this kind of media shelf. And up top I've got this Megazord I mean, from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I've got this Darkwing Duck I love, and then hiding behind it is somebody did a drawing. We got a drawing for me and my wife. Someone did and gifted to us, but I need a better place for that. But I loved this Darkwing Duck as a kid, loved that series, and of course love Power Rangers, but I wanted to put something up here that kind of went with the VHSs that you saw at the bottom, the more media stuff. And right here, I said Mega 64 would come back, but I love Mega 64. They're a kind of internet comedy group. They made classic kind of Jackass styled videos back in the 2000s, 2010s, and they still do, are still making stuff, but it's mostly podcast stuff they're making now and some other things they've branched off to. But I love these guys forever. We'll love these guys. These guys have influenced me more than I can describe. But I have bought all of their DVDs, all of the Blu Rays. Some of them I still need to watch. Some of them are shrink wrapped because I haven't had time to watch them, but I have supported these guys. There is Rocco signed one of these things. It included it was one of these bonuses when you pre-ordered or whatever, one of their Blu-rays or whatever, but Rocco signed it there at the top. But that's all three of those guys. And then there is some other people that work for them, but that's all I got on that postcard. And then some TV shows. I put some TV shows Blu-rays right here. So Twin Peaks, Complete Twin Peaks, Berserk, Batman, other Mega 64 stuff. Here is some. Oh my gosh. Mighty Rats. Oh my gosh. Mighty Mouse. I forgot the freaking name of them. I'm like blanking on so much stuff. Motorcycle mice bikes from Mars. I'm losing my brain. I'm so sorry. I mean, I love these action figures. I have so many memories of these action figures as I've been playing with them, but I'm just losing my brain by the end of this video. But there's that. You're probably wondering, why the heck do you have a Blockbuster video? And that came with Toy Story. My parents bought it back in the day for me. I ended up getting that complete in box, eventually buying the box for it and owning it. But they gave the thing also the rental box. They just gave it to my parents when they bought it. We didn't steal or anything, but I love that I have a Blockbuster video rental box. And down here is my VHS collection. These three I found at a yard sale. They're not sealed. They just have the plastic over them. And these are like that I watched as a kid and I loved and wore out these tapes on. And that, my friends, is it for that shelf. And that concludes the Game Room Tour 2026. I hope you have enjoyed. It has taken a while, months, sometimes years to afford some of this other stuff, to get rid of some of this other stuff that I found out that wasn't really bringing me joy having it on a shelf. So I sold it, bought some other stuff. The lights took a while. The new lights that you see here, I'm very happy how they look. And thank you guys for watching. I love watching other people's game room tours. I love the ones where they go for complete sets on stuff because I just don't have the room to do that. But I hope you've enjoyed this game room tour. Maybe it gives you some ideas. I've seen people comment before on the other ones that, hey, I'm going to do that on my game room thing. Awesome, because I'm getting influence from you guys, watching your guys' game room tours and seeing how you display stuff. But this is the way I like to do it. Again, for me to encourage you, if you're watching this, like, this took years to get to. 30 plus years to acquire some of this stuff and just keep it over the years. And on my first places I lived, when I lived with my parents, some of this was stuff that you see out was stuffed in a closet. And if that kind of bums you out, it's like, oh man, I can't get to display this. Why keep it? I'm going to sell it. Well, some of this stuff I'm glad I kept. Some of the stuff was in my grandpa's garage. Some of these old boxes of game consoles. I just didn't have the room. But I had a dream one day that I would have a space big enough that I could display this stuff. And it brings me so much joy seeing this down here. It's so cool to have this stuff still and feel the memories and what these games meant to me. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video and again, get some ideas for your collecting. But for me and the way I like to collect, and maybe it is you too, this stuff stays on the shelf and I give it physical space in my limited space that I have in my house because it means something to me. That's why I like watching people that have the complete sets, even though it's not for me and how I like to collect. I could never have that room for it, and it is cool to see all that stuff. But for me, I have tailored this to me. And to get these, like, you wouldn't believe it, but like to get these exactly set with my collection, it took hours upon hours upon hours of like moving stuff around and finagling here and moving this around. So the same thing's going to be for you, and I think that's so fun. Like everyone's going to have a custom collection of stuff that matters to them and they want to display. But that is the Game Room Tour 2026. Hey, if you like the video, go ahead and like it. Subscribe to the channel. I post video games related stuff. I think I'm going to post some stuff on TikTok as well regarding the collection. Maybe go into some detail that I didn't go into in this video and talk more in depth there. But that's at DweeBros on TikTok as well. But check us out we're on X as well, DweeBros, at DweeBros. But thank you guys for watching. I'll shut up now. I hope that wasn't too long a video. What was it, like 20 minutes in the end? Is that what it was, probably? 20-minute video? Wait, what the heck? That's a long video.